Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk, a call-in show on the Skeptic Haven channel network. Let's Talk is a safe place for atheists, those questioning or leaving religion, or anyone that wants to ask questions and have respectful discussions. From the US, you can call us at 984-789-4787, or if you're outside the US, just click that little URL you see on the screen and call us from your computer. You gotta love science and technology.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.
Hey, Mikey, what's going on, brother?
Hello, everyone. What up, Neil?
I had my usual brunch with my mom, as I usually do on Sundays, and we went to a little restaurant here called the Dutch Pannenkoek House. And a pannenkoek is a giant Dutch pancake, basically, but it's kind of like somewhere in between an actual pancake and like a crepe. So it's thinner, and you load it up with like bacon and egg, and you roll it up, and you pour Dutch stroop, which is like a really thick sort of syrup.
It sounds like thicker syrup. Like there's syrup and then there's stroop.
Stroop is what they call it, right? So, and it's so good, man. It's not as sweet as like maple syrup, so it contains less sugar, and it's a little bit more molassesy kind of thing, but it's really good with this.
What's it made from? Do you know? Probably like cane sugar or whatever, or probably not from a tree.
I think it is actually. I think it's. I don't even really know. I just know that it's fucking good. It's made from wild stroops. I don't know.
In the chat, please help us. What am stroop?
What is stroop? Anyway, so I think our topic today is, what you and I do all the time is we're going to talk to people about, I guess, deconversion, stuff like that. Maybe we might get a theist online that is having, thoughts and deconstruction type thoughts, which we could obviously help them along. We'll just say, because we talk to people about that kind of thing all the time. You and I
got a little experience. 540 episodes in. We got a couple.
Something is that how much? Holy crap!
Yeah, it's something stupid, something crazy. It's in the triple digits, y'all. Just know that.
Yeah. Well, videos in total, we've done over 1,115 videos or 16 videos now. So yeah, that's a lot of freaking videos.
Addicts.
Yeah. I know, right? Anything interesting going on with you these days, or?
I did a very good thing as a dada, and I put together her new potty because dada is sick of paying for diapers.
So you're potty training.
So it is potty training season. We're about to be peeing. We're about to be pooping, and we're not about to be buying diapers anymore.
Wow, that's awesome.
I can't help but be happy.
Waiting for the day that somebody potty trains me finally.
We're going to get there.
Then I don't have to keep buying Depends all the time.
Well, if you guys like the video down there where the little thumb is, perhaps we can find a tutor before this is all said and done.
Yeah.
Tutor, get it?
Tutor?
Because you toot when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. It kind of just hit me now.
Tooting.
Dude, I know you're a dad now, but these dad jokes have to improve.
I'm warming up.
All right.
My kid is only 2. I get some time to really get some high level dads in there.
Actually, I posted kind of a funny dad joke on Blue Sky today. I had a little meme that I popped up there, and on top of the meme it says, I said to her, I don't know what apocalypse means, and she said, well, don't worry about it, it's not the end of the world. And the meme was, I make Armageddon jokes or apocalypse jokes like there's no tomorrow. I know, groan, moan.
That's kind of like the current theme of 2025, right? Like coming up, it's like apocalypse. That's the genre we're kind of leaning into here.
Well, I mean, shit, have you seen the cabinet that the guy's got or wants to get going in there, and all this fucking flunkies and all that shit there?
Look, I'm gonna be up there in the steel mines over there in Canada so we can build a house.
Hunter pardoned. Look at that, eh?
Really?
Who's Hunter?
His
Is that Hunter Biden he's talking about?
his kid.
Oh, pardon for what?
He tried to get a gun license, and then one of the questions on there is like, are you addicted to any hard substances? And he said no, and that is a lie. You're not allowed to lie on those things.
Oh,
yeah. So that's what he's in trouble for.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, it's not like someone else was literally on like protective custody and out on bail, and then went to a gun show and bought a golden deagle with his face on it. I mean, but that's fine. That's not the same thing.
Oh, what's this? What's this? We have Celtic Spirits Coven in the chat. Yeah. Congratulations. The longest traditional witchcraft coven in the world has returned, ready for stories. All right.
Come on in.
Just traditional witchcraft coven in the world.
And if anybody's just walking in, Neil, what kind of callers are we looking for today?
Today we're looking for callers that I guess are questioning their faith or have questioned their faith and are finding they're on their way out of their previous beliefs. Like, because it's what you and I do, right? It's what we specialize in, is talking to people about their deconversion stories and their journeys out of their belief systems. And we've talked to all kinds of people about that sort of stuff, including people that used to be ex-white supremacists and ex-gurus in the world of pseudoscientific woo and stuff like that. So
it sounds crazy, but the ex-white supremacist, I'm not gonna say it was like one of my favorite episodes, but it was kind of nice to see somebody just like, I actually don't believe this anymore, so I'm not ashamed to say what I used to believe. And it was like, okay, thank you for not like doing the whole like, am I allowed to say what? I was like, no, clearly you've reformed yourself. But it was you never know, guys.
Some of these, I mean, a lot of these, especially like something like that, it can be tough to let everything go because it's sort of like you were raised in it, like you are with religion too, right? You were raised by other white supremacists, so it can be tough to let that kind of thing go because it's all you knew, really. So if any of you guys do have something you want to share with us, feel free to give us a call. It's 984-789-4787, or if you're outside the U.S., just look at the little ticker thingy down here where it says right there, callinstudio.com, show Skeptic Haven, and you can call us from your computer.
How much are we charging per call?
Oh, about $1,000.
Okay, guys, what a deal. Black Friday deal.
Oh, yeah, it's Black Friday. Okay, so it's $9.99.
Pre-Cyber Monday deal.
That's right. That's right. We can hang out until Monday, and then you can just call us for half the price. No, we don't charge anything. You know that. They can call in for free.
It's free today.
Have I had ex-Jews? Oh, yeah, multiple. Mm-hmm. Multiple. One was so concerned about what his family might think that he actually called us from his car. He had to drive blocks away from home and then called us on his car phone. Or his cell phone in his car phone. Who has a car phone these days?
I was about to say, wow, he had a car phone.
I remember,
Zach
one of my relatives, one of my uncles back in the day got his first car phone, and he thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I went out there and got to play on the car phone, which is kind of cool. Because this is like, I would say late 70s, early 80s. So
my mom had the phone that was like a purse backpack satchel thing.
Oh, with the big ass battery that you had to tote around with it.
Yeah, it was like our car phone, like in emergencies, because we would take all these like I'm from St. Louis, if people don't know, so we would go like back and forth between like St. Louis and Chicago, and that's I-55, Route 66. It's not fun, and if you get stuck and you fall off the highway and you got to wait for somebody to dig you out, you might be there for a while. But this is like 95. There was no cell phone, so if you didn't have a phone and you were in the ditch, you got to walk to the gas station or something to have somebody get you. So yeah, she didn't want us to get stranded out there. So she spent hundreds of dollars on that fucking thing just for it to, sorry guys. Just for it to be, I think it was like $1.50 a minute or something crazy. Like it was for calling. It was like for calling the tow truck, for calling the ambulance. That's all it was for. And I was like, I want to call someone. I would like to talk on that phone. And I never did.
Not at no $1.50 an hour. You ain't talking on the phone, or
I ain't got
$1.50 a minute. Pardon me.
I ain't got nothing to say. nothing that important.
It's funny. We all carry around telephones now. What is the most things we do? Well, we use it for social media. We use it to text each other. Do we?
Clash of Clans.
The only time I ever use a phone is when my mom phones me. So
yeah, I've had to like
texting.
As my mom has aged, I've had to be the one calling her and stuff, because I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to her in like a month. Let me just give her a ring. And then she'll text me back like after like screening my call, like, hey, what do you need? I'm like, what the fuck? Woman, answer the phone. What you mean? What I mean? Every time I was at a party, I couldn't just text you back. Oh, what do you need, mom? Like, that was not how it worked. Our dynamic is if somebody calls you, you answer the phone.
Especially a family member, for crying out loud.
Kids these days, no respect. Just like a teenager.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe if we don't get any phone calls, I can build the Nightmare Before Christmas Lego set I got.
Oh.
No, we'll save that for my channel.
Kira hasn't seen that yet. We're saving it.
Oh.
I want her
How
to
old
be
do you figure?
I want her to talk at least so she can like know what the hell's going on.
It's Greene.
Because I don't want her to be afraid of it.
Right.
And I was a weird kid. I loved it off rip. As soon as it came out, I was like, this is the greatest movie ever.
Well, I went to the theater and saw it.
They wouldn't take me.
No.
What? I was the only boy, and I'm like way behind everybody else. So it's like, no, we're not going to see a freaking kids movie. You got to watch the movie that everybody like Jurassic Park. We went and saw Jurassic Park, and I was like, this is terrifying, but I want to watch it again. Like I was equal parts terrified and in love with the Velociraptors. I was like, this is amazing. There's a freaking dinosaur. Oh, what if there is dinosaurs?
The Velociraptors. My roommate has an irrational fear of Velociraptors. I'm like, they're extinct, right?
And they're also very small.
But she's like, but they could jump up on the second balcony, no problem.
No, they were very small. There's
they're pretty tough little bastards, though.
No, it's the Utah Raptors are the ones that they kind of depicted in the movie. The Velociraptor, it was only like I think like 3 feet. Like they were small.
Yeah,
I'll look it up. I thought
could eat your face. So
I will punt the hell out of a little lizard jump. Like it's like an iguana. You know what I mean? Like a iguana that could like stand up a little bit. They're that size.
Oh yeah, it's an iguana with like a fucking honey badger attitude.
Yeah, with grasshopper legs. The grasshopper iguanas.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Yeah, I tennis racket them all day.
But you got to remember though, the Velociraptors that you see in Jurassic Park aren't really what Velociraptors actually looked like. They were too big and they didn't have feathers. Right, so.
Oh, you're talking about Jurassic World. Yeah, I didn't see those. I saw one of those. I was like, boy, I know you're not riding no motorcycle hanging out with Velociraptor. What are we talking about?
Well, he trained them from babies, right? So
Lord. I was like, what is this? You're not running? Oh, okay.
Hell, I'd like to have a pet Velociraptor that could kick someone's ass if they started bothering me. Like, all right, Shorty, eat that guy.
Shorty. Get him snacks.
Snacks. Yeah. Well, we don't have any callers yet. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Give us a call. We'd like to talk to you. Like to hear a little bit about your story, or
where's my Catholic friend who wants to talk to the manager?
Oh, you had one of those?
No, when we were here last time, everybody's like, I want to talk to the other guy.
What other guy?
He wanted to talk to you. He wouldn't talk to me.
What? Seriously? Why do I not remember this?
We only had one caller.
Oh, well, geez.
Or I think somebody else called in, but only one guy. What was it? Is like Catholic something. But he came in under like CT John or something.
Oh, yeah.
Catholic traditionalist. Yeah. That's who it was.
Catholic traditionalist. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. Quite the brain on that one there.
Yeah, he was fun. I never had anybody call for a manager on me, but that was a call-in show.
Manager.
It's like give me the white bearded guy.
Give me the
yeah, because remember he was like, I want to talk to the guy with a beard. I was like, I have a beard.
yeah.
Rude.
What do you mean?
Just totally discounted my beard
for you. Yes, you need to have these nice little weird looking handlebar things, I guess. Mine's technically, I guess you could call it a beard. It's more like sideburns and an extended mustache is what it is.
I think it's just a beard with like mad riz. Is that how you say that, kids? Kids, let me know in the chat. Is that how I say riz?
I kind of would like to talk. I know Celtic Spirits Coven was in the chat. I don't know if they're still in the chat, but I'd like to hear how they ended up doing that stuff, and if they ever had previous beliefs that they gave up to go there.
Yeah, Wiccans always spark a little.
I was Wiccan.
It always sparks like a little bit of like awkward curiosity because, you know, growing up in a black fundamental church and then some like non-denominational, like everybody goes kind of shit. I ain't never heard or seen a Wiccan. I'm like, oh, you must tell me more of your strange land. Distant traveler. Tell me, what news do you bring from the surface? Like I was very sheltered.
Maybe I need to be a little bit more lit up here. Boom.
Is it lit? It's getting lit in here.
I'm hip. Getting lit in here.
like Nelly and all that stuff is like old people music, and I'm like, that can't be right. It's a great song. What do you mean Getting Hot in Here came out 20 years ago? That can't be right. It came out too. Yeah, we're old.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Old farts.
Let's there be light. Yes, Infidel has been on my show. Lots of folks have been on my show. That's right. I do remember that Skeptic Haven said he had no technology in the woods, he said. So that's the Wiccan who couldn't call in.
Oh,
because
true that.
They were, but that was last time. Are they still in the fucking woods? Like, what's going on?
Do Wiccans not do electricity?
Watch out for cougars.
It's cougar season.
That's right.
I used to have an orange vest I would wear to the. I used to have an orange vest I would wear to the club on ladies' night. They knew what time it was. Got that high vis jacket on. The ladies know what's up.
Yeah.
They know what you're there for.
Hunt you down. Yes, Infidel was at least a couple of years ago. Somewhere between 2 and 3 years ago that you were on, for sure. By the way, Infidel would be one of those ex-Jews that was on the channel. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but we've done so many episodes. I do kind of get confused. Like some people stand out because like I remember like, or it's like part of their screen name or something like that. But most people, I don't remember what your last religion was. Unless it was like really, really bad.
We're not Wiccan? What do you mean? Well, New Age pretend nonsense? Well, I don't know. Wiccans might argue against that. Wiccan's been around for quite some time. But as far as I remember. But anyway, I don't really do that stuff anymore. Because I found it
I'm on the patch.
Yeah, kind of silly. But that's just me. Yeah, I ended up doing all that sort of stuff because of a girl I was dating. So I got into that for a few years. And then I was like, yeah, no.
They hit you with the best kind of magic available. I mean, what can you do? Only mortal.
Sex magic. Blood sugar baby.
Suck my kiss.
Holy crap. What the hell is going on there? So my blue sky is just blowing up, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I heard everyone's doing a lot of growing over there, and I'm like, I have to motivate myself to do social media again. But it's like, dude, I was at the like beginning, not the very beginning of Twitter, but definitely the very early days of Facebook and all that stuff. It's like, yo, I'm deep in this game. You know, like just switch to blue sky. It's like I didn't want to stay on the ones I was on. I was thinking about hanging up the gloves for the last time.
All right, so I have a little something I'll share with you folks here. It's called the characteristics of pseudoscience. All right. Number one, It's unfalsifiable, which means it can't be proven wrong. It makes vague or unobservable claims. Number 2, relies heavily on anecdotes, personal experiences, and testimonials. Number 3, cherry picks, confirming evidence while ignoring and minimizing disconfirming evidence. Uses technobabble, words that sound scientific but don't really make a lot of sense. Lacks plausible mechanism, no way to explain it based on existing knowledge. 6 is unchanging, doesn't self-correct or progress. Sounds like something that we all know, right? Like religion. Anyway, makes extraordinary or exaggerated claims with insufficient evidence. Professes certainty, talks of proof with great confidence.
I bet.
Commits local fallacies, arguments contain errors in reasoning. And number 10, lacks peer review, goes directly to the public, avoiding scientific scrutiny. And just for shits and giggles, they threw in an 11th one called claims there's a conspiracy to suppress their ideas.
What are you reading? Sorry, I tried to sign in so I could talk in the chat and I kicked myself out.
It's the characteristics of pseudoscience.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And those are the top 10 reasons why I'm not on social media. It's like I can't sort through. I just want to laugh at your cat falling down the stairs. Okay. I don't want to hear your thing about the dome. I don't care. Like, it's not real. Like, come on, man. Y'all ruined the apps. I haven't gotten any good memes on a social media app in years. It's all hatred.
Oh, buddy, I've been planting a ton of them on Blue Sky today, which is probably why my Blue Sky's blowing up. But that's
right. You over there cracking everybody up.
Yep. One of my favorite one is, "Don't be sad, laundry. No one's doing me either."
This is not funny. This is not funny. I saw a TikTok. When like a certain orange mango flavored Mussolini dictator asshole started up that rumor about Haitian people eating different pets.
Cats.
The girl was like, dogs. The girl was like, they eating everybody cat out here but mine. I was like, stop. Stop. We can't say these things. That's not what it's about. Damn, that's good.
Let me double check the calls. Nope, nobody yet. Mikey, this could just be you and me yakking at each other all night for all I know.
That's fine.
We do that all the time anyway. So
I'm used to that. I know how to do.
So I went to visit a psychic, and I knocked on the door, and she said, "Who's there?" So I left.
Right.
Sorry, I posted that one on Blue Sky today too.
I mean, I guess it would be like really ironic if they like got robbed in the night. Like they come in the morning and like all the tarot cards are gone, all the glass orbs are gone, like all their stuff is gone. It's like, someone broke in last night. It's like, you didn't see that coming. Yeah. Just no way of knowing, huh?
Yeah. Actually,
only someone could have foresaw this.
This is a true story. My friend and I were driving down one of our major roads here called Kingsway, and they used to have a little psychic shop there. And I remember it being there for years. And all of a sudden, one day, it said out of business. And I'm thinking to myself, tell me they didn't see that coming.
You're right. I think I would be afraid to be like, if I did have psychic powers, even like setting up the readings and stuff like that. If I could scry and see the future, I would. If I'm ever wrong, that's what I've set myself up for. Like eternal jokes about me getting something wrong. Like it would just risk rewards too high.
Every once in a while, I end up on some weird fucking wormhole on TikTok, and there's these lives going on because I like to flip through the lives to see if there's anyone I know, so I can pop in and go, "Hey," that kind of thing, right?
I get banned all the time. I get banned so much, dude. It's starting to hurt my feelings now. They kick me out of every kind of space.
Behave yourself, Mike. So anyway, there's one girl, she's got dowsing rods, and she's answering people's questions with the dowsing rod. I'm like, oh my God, really? I know. I guess she hasn't heard of ideomotor functions, but hey, just me. But yeah, that was funny as shit to see that kind of thing, or somebody with like the scrying, the little gem hanging off there, and they're
let's get some tea leaves out.
Yeah, read the tea leaves. Yeah.
I mean, if anything,
let's see this.
Okay,
just leave me the fuck alone. Oh, all right, sorry.
I mean, you could totally like I think it's a valuable thing, even if like that kind of stuff is not real. If you need to just sit down and like process what's going to happen in your day and kind of mentally prepare yourself, and that helps you, then do it. That sounds like a great idea, but I wouldn't say that it's like magic. You just like kind of prepared yourself mentally for what you're going to have to tackle today. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It looks like the tea leaves are saying I should be a little bit more patient than normal. Sure. Couldn't hurt, like you won't break anything by being a little extra cautious today. But
I knew it would happen. Sorry, go ahead.
But it's like as soon as it says hey, you're gonna win $1 million, and like, yes, but then like, hey, you should be more kind to people, and they're like, this psychic doesn't know anything. Like, they just wait until they hear Mr. Prince Charming is gonna be the fire, your apartment's gonna catch on fire, and a handsome hunk is gonna kick in the door and say, come here, and shake you down. Like, that's not what I mean. Maybe I'll just do that. I'll just tell people that kind of stuff. I'm like, your house is gonna burn down, and a real hot guy is gonna take you down a ladder.
Yeah, weird.
Just tell them what they want to hear.
I guess, yeah.
Just tell them. That's why they're paying me.
I posted a thing earlier that says saying my life stinks when things go wrong is self-depreciating, defeatist, and fills you with sadness. Saying this isn't the life Godzilla wants for me is motivating, makes you think about Godzilla, and reminds you that Godzilla cares about you. And I tagged Aaron Raw in it, and he liked it right away. So that was pretty funny.
What would Godzilla do?
Big Godzilla fans. What would Godzilla do? Yeah. WWGD. Yeah. I want to call in, but it's not a deconversion story. Is it okay? Call anyway. Sure, it's okay. We'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk about, Javier. Javier's blog, 208. Yeah, call in. Sure, absolutely. Love to talk to you. I don't even have to keep sharing all my Blue Sky posts. Although that's fun, too.
I haven't made a post yet. I want to make it a good one.
Yeah. Well, think up something good. Find a funny meme. Let's see. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good. I saw something in the private chat. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see. We should have a caller soon. I mean, if Javier wants to call in, we'd love to talk to you.
There we go. I said something in the chat. I kicked myself out of the whole freaking stream trying to get it to work. And I didn't even say anything because I was scared to go back over there. So I conquered my fear. Hello, guys.
Pardon me if I'm a little sniffly. I've been dealing with this bloody flu now for what seems like almost 2 weeks.
Uh-oh.
So
you got COVID?
No, it's not COVID. Because I can still smell and taste things. Well, sort of smell and taste things. But yeah, no, it's just constant runny nose at this point. It seems like.
Did
so
you
see me do this? It means I'm grabbing a tissue.
Did your temperature break too? Because it's like in the teens here now. Like it's proper cold.
Oh, again. Well, here right now it is whatever that is in Fahrenheit. It's 5 degrees Celsius here.
So it's like 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like 30 degrees warmer than me.
Let's see, 5. Oops.
Hey, Tux.
Degrees.
Hi, PC.
Celsius. So that would be 41 degrees.
I was right there.
Fahrenheit.
I'm getting good at Celsius.
Yeah, I can't remember what the formula is for that, but
something ridiculous.
it's like multiple by 3 and add fucking, I don't know. It's some stupid thing.
If the temperature sees its shadow,
then you get 8 more weeks of spring.
8 more weeks of hot humidity.
Well, I do live by the water, so yeah, it can get pretty fucking humid here. That's for sure. Yes, it is 41 degrees here. It's pretty chilly out there. I like to go out and sit and smoke a doobie and have a couple of smokes. And by the time it looks like we got a call. By the time I get back in from outside,
okay.
Then, oh, wait. Do we have a call? Yes, we do. All right. Let's see.
Oh, boy.
Let's hear from Javier, who's calling in from New Jersey.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello, Javier. How are you?
Good. How have you been?
Not too bad.
You're in Jersey. Which exit?
Oh, all right.
Had a good brunch.
Yeah, I
with my
saw
mom.
you guys were on. I just thought I'd jump on because it was you guys. I don't know. I didn't realize it was different people every time.
We all look alike.
So who officially hosts the show? I wasn't really sure.
Tonight I'm the main host, and my partner here, Mikey, is my co-host tonight.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. So I guess just talk about anything again, right? Like,
sure. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, how'd you guys feel about the election? It was crazy. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, neither could most people. I think everyone was like, "What? He fucking won again?"
Yeah.
I was really shocked, and I was actually, I did vote for Kamala Harris, but obviously I did. But I was very, very shocked. I was looking. It's like I couldn't believe that Pennsylvania actually went for him. Because it's just, if you look at political history, it's just the last time Pennsylvania went red for anything was in 2016 when he won. But it's just almost like you have to look at there's a lot of weird correlations in this election. It's we have to ask ourselves questions. It's like, are we going to just dismiss it as coincidence that he won all 7 swing states, quote 7 biblical number, and that literally every single state in the country shifted to the right for the first time since Ronald Reagan? And it's shocking to me. I mean, it's horrifying that this happened and that this country is this emboldened. But it's just I don't even know what to think of it. It's almost like there was a divine hand behind it, because this kind of stuff just doesn't happen. It does though.
Well, clearly it does.
It does though, because I think historically, we like to kind of gloss over the 60s. You know what I mean? And we put on some rose-colored glasses because MLK and everything ended up being okay at the end. But it was bad during the 60s. My mom remembers leaving school and the whole town was in mourning when Martin Luther King got assassinated. Now that's a dark day here. And he was only, I think his approval ratings were 26% at the time. So not all of America was even sad that it happened. America's not as great as a lot of people like to pretend it is. We get by. We get by despite our horrible history and our horrible past. We get by despite it, and we try to get better every year.
Well, you would hope that you would want to get better. Yeah,
that's the goal anyway. But when people promise impossible things, and I mean, we're over here doing a show about Christian call-ins. You know what I mean? When you promise people the impossible, if they're desperate enough, they will believe you. You know what I mean? They're finding out now, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm listening.
No, that was your turn to talk if you want.
Yeah.
Part of my cough. I'm recovering from a sickness of some sort. But
Me too.
Go ahead.
Neil got you sick.
Yeah, it's all my fault. Sorry. So Wes wanted to know if you were, or Skeptic Haven wanted to know if you were happy that Trump won.
Oh no, I was horrified. But
don't blame you.
At the end of the day, it's like this wasn't just a Trump victory. Like Trump didn't just win; he shifted every state in the nation to the right.
Yeah,
every state, all 50 states, he shifted them to the right from where they were last time. And I'm like, that's very hard to believe. It's such a it's like that's a coincidence. It's like, and then all 7 of the swing states, it's like I just couldn't believe that happened. It's like, it was really, really shocking to me. It was very shocking to me. And it's just like, but now look at what we're going to have to deal with like the next 4 years. It's just like, it really shows that how emboldened people are in this country, how angry they really are. And it's just like, and that these are people just living amongst us, and every state in the country. I mean, I don't even know how to. It's very hard to put into words how I felt about that election, but it was very. I was just more left speechless than anything. Like, I couldn't believe it. I actually really thought the Harris was going to pull it off. I really believed it.
I mean, we can't. I mean, I did a video on the Bin Podcast Network, kind of like breaking down like who I thought carried this part of the blame and that part of the blame. Like, a lot of bad things happen, right? Like even if Trump ran a perfect campaign or a horrible campaign, if we just look at what we did on the left and how that campaign was run and how it was introduced, there was no chance. You know what I mean? Like you can't run with Liz Cheney and get progressives. You can't promise to rearm Israel to the teeth and get the Muslim vote. Like, it's just not gonna, like, we did I of what winners do. And we got the opposite of what winners get.
I do think Kamala made a lot of mistakes. And I mean, I disagree that Liz Cheney was one of them, because I think that Liz Cheney was actually a very good person to have on her side. And, getting those Republican endorsements, all those Republican endorsements was powerful. That should have been powerful, because, like, at the end of the day, it showed her off. Like, it really should have, like, gone her a lot of Republican voters. But again, we have to recognize the Republican voters are no longer Republican voters. They're sold out to the MAGA movement.
Correct.
And it's like, it's not even like the traditional Republican voters anymore, like the ones that endorsed Harris, like Cheney and all of them.
Yeah.
It's like they're completely sold out to the movement. It's just to the MAGA movement. And it's there's millions and millions of people in this country. Like, he even won the popular vote. It's just so insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
And like, go ahead. We live in a country that it's like, and you don't know if when this will ever change again. This could be like, I mean, and it's like, I'm just being very real here. From my theistic perspective, I'm being very real here. It's like, this could be like God's way of like slamming his fist on this country, saying it's like this. I don't even know. This, I'm in charge. Yeah, I'm in charge here and all that. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't want to say that. I'm trying to be careful with my words. But this could be like God showing us something. I don't even know. I don't know. I'm trying to really wrap my head on really what to make of this. Like, it's like, I obviously I didn't vote for it. I didn't want it to happen. I was very much against it happening, but it happened. And I was shocked about it. And like, to this day, I'm still processing my thoughts about it. Like, it's just, I just really, really don't understand. It's just really weird.
I personally think that, Elon bought him the election.
Yep.
That's what I think.
That's a big part of it.
Oh, you do?
I do.
He poured millions and millions, or even, did he pour billions? I know he poured like many millions and millions of dollars into
hundreds
this.
Of
like,
millions. Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, he sold his soul. RFK sold his soul. And then Robert F. Kennedy, he was the saddest one, in my opinion, because he's a guy I actually personally heavily respected. I really actually liked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. before he sold his soul out to the MAGA movement, And he did that, and then
are you vaccinated?
It actually hurt me to see him do that. It hurt me to see him do that. But now he's got a position in Trump's administration, so he got what he wanted. And honestly, in my opinion, I know you may disagree, and you have the right to disagree. in my opinion, I think that Harris made a mistake in rejecting RFK's endorsement. Before RFK offered Trump his endorsement, Harris, he offered the endorsement to Harris first. And then Harris said no and kind of laughed him off. And I think that was a huge mistake on her part, because I think that RFK would have made a good asset to her administration and also to her, just to her in general, like her campaign in general.
Are you like a science-minded guy? Like, are you vaccinated? Do you believe in like the validity of vaccines and vaccine treatments?
To an extent, yes.
Okay, so that's somewhere where obviously we're gonna part ways. Well, not part ways, but
we're gonna have disagreements on it because
we're gonna disagree about that, because like I don't know that I'm going to.
I'm not anti-vax. I'm not anti-vax. Don't get me wrong.
But he really is. So
he still thinks it's linked to autism, and that's been demonstrated not to be the case like long ago.
I mean, if you look to, I think it was last year in October, he went down to the Philippines and was talking with these moms groups and spoke, and they or it was Samoa. And this lady buried all 3 of her kids from measles. Measles was largely eradicated on the earth. But this is the thing, like it doesn't affect him. You know what I mean? And I saw him talking to a group of I don't know what they're I think they were pastors or something, but a large group of black men and women. And he's just like, you just gotta build up some resilience and let like the Marvel MCU and let the racism just bounce right off of you. Like, this is not a serious person. Like you're talking
about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.?
Yeah, like your grandfather was a bootlegger who shored up $4 billion in today's money and set up trust funds for everybody. The Kennedys have led a completely separate and alien life to everyone else in this country. Like they just have had a life without consequence, which is why he's allowed to run around and say crazy things, because he's a Kennedy.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the wealthy families in this country. They're like the Clintons, the Kennedys, the Bushes. Those well-known names. It's
the dynasties, yeah.
And it's like those names that get that have automatic name recognition. Now I guess you could throw Trump in that name too, because everybody's going to know who Trump is now. It's like in the future he's going to run for president, and they'll get it probably. Who knows?
Yeah, your body, your choice. Not when it comes to women. Yeah, it's one of the biggest issues I had, was that whole thing.
Yep.
Anyway, Javier, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because we do have another caller waiting for us. So
I actually did have another topic, but there were 2 topics I was going to bring up. But you can take the other caller if you want.
Go ahead, real quick. Go ahead.
I can't talk up the call like I did last time.
No, you're good. I won't talk so much. Go ahead and get your second one in.
Oh, no. It's just I was just it's just when it comes to I'm just wanting to explain my, I don't know if explaining is the right word. It's because this can go into a long discussion. I'm not even going to lie.
Well, I'll tell you what then.
Do you want to take the other caller first?
Then you call back?
Or do you want to, what's that?
You want to call back after this next caller? If we
yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome to do that.
No,
or
you can wait. Give me a folder or something.
I don't think I can actually, but I'm back on the 15th if you want to call in again. And I think that might be
cool.
a better time to call if we're going to talk about belief type stuff, because my co-host for that night is my very good friend Randolf Richardson, and he's all about that kind of stuff. So.
Got it. Yeah, got it. Yeah, you can take the caller if you want. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to intrude that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling us, Javier. If we have some time and you want to call us back, stay, I guess, alert in the chat or whatever, and you'll know if we have the time. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, man. Good to hear from you.
All right, sounds good.
To you soon.
Thank
Cheers.
you. You too.
All right. All right. So now we have Dionysus. Him from Earth, a Catholic Quaternion, whatever the heck that is. And why are we, the hosts, atheists? Well, let's have a little call.
Okay.
All right. We've got Dionysus on the line.
Hello.
Yeah, the numbered one.
Kind of cool. I've never spoke to a Greek god before.
Yeah, we're making a comeback, man.
Did you bring the wine, though? I mean, you're known for your wine.
I was about to say, I'm not feeling very festive yet.
It's the same wine. It's the same wine, a different container, baby. Different bottle. Same juicy liquid. Same blood.
Nice. All right. So you were kind of wondering why we're atheists?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. What is your experience? How did you come to atheism? Were you born that way? Maybe you were a strictly religious household. Whatever the case may be. Yeah. How did you come to atheism?
You want to do this first, Mikey, or you want me to do it?
I'll go. I am a pastor's kid. My family is big in the Church of God in Christ in Missouri. I went to a lot of non-denominational churches up in Chicagoland and Baptist churches. And then I did some history learning, and I learned who gave the Bible to Black people. And I don't want it anymore. So that's most of my story boiled down. It's not for my people.
You gave the Bible to who?
They gave the Bible to Blacks to keep them compliant, and I'm not compliant.
Oh, Black people.
Yes, slave masters gave the Bible and only the Bible to slaves.
Bible to Black people.
Yes, that was the only book that they were allowed to read.
All right, so it's important to get the details right.
Okay,
sure.
Can you explain that a little more? You said they gave the Bible to Black people. Yeah.
The only book that Black people were allowed to read in the antebellum South was the Bible. And that got me to thinking, why are they trying to get all the Black people to read this book? And it's because it makes them peaceful and compliant and less likely to advocate for their own rights. So as soon as I saw the Bible as a political tool, I no longer saw it as a religious anything.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to kind of agree with you to the extent that dogma can have, an effect on the soul. I completely agree with that. But, it didn't really work, right? If anything, it made them stronger as a people because they had the faith to carry them through the pain,
Would you like to count the millions of people that didn't make it? Like millions of my ancestors are gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
And the fortunes that they amassed are in the pockets of companies that are still around right now. So, yeah.
You're a Black man. I'm assuming because I have you on the phone. I'm not even looking at the screen right now.
Yes.
Hello. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
My people. All right. That makes sense. Yeah. No. Okay. Well, it's your experience. Thank you for sharing that. I see what you're saying. So you believe more in a self-deterministic, rebellious, maybe that's what I would call your God would be self-determination and self-thought, self-ownership, self-sovereignty. That's very American.
Well, no, I just see that the religion that my people was given was an obvious lie just to keep them compliant from rising up and advocating for themselves. So when I did research on the book itself, there's nothing to that either. All of this has been just a way to control people. So that's when I was like, okay, this is not for me. I would like to not control people.
Well,
it is. It's a tool for control.
I would say, before you become a master, before you're ever a master, you have to be a slave. It happened to the Egyptians. It happened to the Jews in Egypt. It's happening again.
Actually, it did, but that's okay.
The story of Exodus exactly exemplifies the suffering of all those people.
Who were
Yeah,
the
it's also a mythology.
Some people they read the Bible for what it is. Yeah, maybe they have a more intellectual approach, a Gnostic approach to transpersonal realities. And
so what you're saying is that it is a good thing that black people were slaves because now they're allowed to be masters. Do you have any idea how regressive and incredibly insulting and dismissive what you just said was?
Well, I use examples of Jews first, which were clearly white people.
I'm not Jewish, so I'm not interested in that. I'm talking about black people.
Exactly.
I used to be Jewish, and I can tell you this for an actual fact: the Exodus never happened. It was a mythology. There is zero archaeological evidence to support that.
That's a historical debate. I'm not trying to debate history.
Sure, but yeah, that's just it. It's not a debate because it's not history.
It's just facts, man.
It never happened. It's like the global flood never happened. Right? We know these things didn't happen.
As weighing your people down.
How do I say this?
Well, I see your reason. And sir, you're the other host. Would you like to quickly give a brief of why maybe you've come to atheism?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, it for me it rang true. It made the most sense to me because I was. It's a quick little story here. I was born to Catholic couple. Okay. They weren't married at the time, and back in the 60s, that was pretty taboo. So I was put up for adoption. I was raised in a Jewish home. Okay, so I grew up and had a bar mitzvah and all that stuff, but I always found that I never really quite believed this. I every time I'd hear the stories, we go to what we used to call Hebrew school, and they tell the stories, all the biblical stories, and I'm like, this all just sounds like. It's like I'm hearing just different versions of mythology, right? Like it's all sounded like that to me. And I used to ask the questions like, how is it possible that, this could have happened? Like it just seems so unlikely. And I would get put out in the hallway a lot for misbehaving, I guess, or something like that. But anyway, so after my bar mitzvah, I said, you know what? Because I did that basically just to appease my parents is why I did that. I was never really a firm believer. I wanted to believe because I felt really weird being the only one in my family that really wasn't a believer. So I wanted to believe, but I couldn't. I could not accept these stories as being true because growing up with my mind was always been around science and sciencey type things. Yeah. And from what I could understand by the knowledge that we have acquired by the scientific method, it's not feasible. Like you can't have an ark with they'd be dead in the first day by the methane alone from the animal's excrement, for crying out loud. Like you can't have the termites would have started eating the boat. Like where the hell were the sloths from South America? How did they get there? These were questions that I had even as a kid. And I was like, there's no possible way this happened. It can't. And not only that, I learned later in life that there were records from civilizations during the time of the flood that didn't make any mention of them being underwater. So it never made any sense to me. And so I couldn't accept the stuff that I was reading as being true because it was so extraordinary a claim that I couldn't, not without some form of evidence to back it up. And I just never found any. So I remained a non-believer for quite some time. And then I ended up, for some reason, dipping my feet in paganism. And I got into Wicca and I got into all kinds of weird shit like that. But ultimately, that didn't really bear any fruit for me either. So I just became a scientist instead. And here I am today as a chemist for an environmental company. So, and I just don't believe. I never really did, but I wanted to, man. I really, really wanted to, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
So how about you, Dionysus? Yeah. Why are you a Catholic quarter?
Let him respond to me first.
Sorry, go ahead.
We're faced with a heavy burden today as modern people. We're faced with a heavy burden today, we have something called epistemological criticism, where we're almost have a detachment, which was necessary part of our evolution as people. Was
detachment from what?
Detached from our instincts. What'd you say?
Detachment from what? You just said a detachment.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Well, what science has brought us many good things.
Sure.
And you can actually make the argument that it was the logos that the original alchemists believed in which they were going into the earth to find the spirit of matter that led to science. But I'm not going to go there because I know you guys are most likely intellectual scientist people, and it's going to be hard to explain why.
Is this leading to the detachment that you're supposed to be explaining?
I'll speak about my Catholicism.
No, tell me about the detachment you just said.
Yeah.
The humans, because of science, are detached from what? What are we detached from? You didn't say.
Well, we have an Archimedean point where we can be more analytical, more directed in our thinking, and more classifying, and that sort of creates a separation between your instincts and strictly living through impulse and things like that.
I don't think that's true.
And it's necessary.
I don't think that's true.
First and foremost, being a nut for statistics, I consider myself somewhat of an amateur statistician. Statistics have demonstrated that your intuition is only right about 7% of the time, which is almost the same as chance.
And because I have a cell phone, if I see a skunk, I'm still gonna run. I still have that instinct to get out of the way of certain things. So I don't think being modern has lowered my humanness. I still have human traits and human reflexes and stuff like that, and I'm still afraid of big animals in the woods.
Would you say that cultivating rationality is almost opposite to instinctive pulse and instinctive perspectives?
No.
I would say maybe you could make that claim, because as humans we do rely on instinct a lot, right? But that's because it's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Spiders are bad, snakes are bad, large predators are bad, right? And so these are the instincts that carry through our lineage for millennia, because humans have been around for a long fucking time. So, and it's we learn these traits, and there's something that they call genetic memory. So stuff comes through in this way. So we're born with this fear of things, right? So that I can see, but the rationality or learning to be rational can sort of infringe upon those types of instincts. But really, you don't have to be afraid of something every time that you see a shadow moving, but it's wise to be. Right?
But
it's wise.
And especially in this modern day, I don't think it's exactly, it doesn't have a utility. So we wouldn't do it. If we lived in a society where people just threw dodgeballs at each other all the time, our humanistic, regular old person instincts would kick in a lot more than they probably do right now. That doesn't mean that they're not there. And that doesn't mean that our kids might have a greater reflex ability than we have. But I hear what you're fishing for, but I'm not sure I'm exactly ready to put a bait on the hook yet.
Okay, but would you say in the house of our psyche, we have our consciousness, we have our unconsciousness, and we have the ego that operates between the two worlds?
Okay.
Would you say that we are completely and utterly in control of what's going on within our body, the autonomic functions, the categories of the mind that we fulfill?
No, I think you can tune into them and attempt to control, but I think autonomic responses are called autonomic responses because they happen automatically, because your body it's your
brain stem.
Yeah,
as long as I have a brain stem, it's gonna do those things. Whether my mind, my frontal lobe is driving the ship or not. My cerebral cortex is gonna keep these lungs pumping, whether or not I have a conscious thought or not.
Yeah, we as humans we navigate through both of these worlds. Don't get me wrong, what science has brought to us with this light of the world, rationality has done so much, and it is so important. But it can only go so far as a vertical leap forward. As we're not something that goes straight up into the sky. Like I'm explaining it very metaphorically. We're not something that's purely vertical, purely intellectual. We're also something that's earthly. So the fact that earthliness is
products of the earth. So yeah.
What do you mean by earthly?
Reality.
Yeah,
like I would consider rationality almost a divine aspect of the human life.
No.
I would consider earthly the emotional aspect. Well,
humans are emotional.
We have to what divinity might be. Yeah, we're both.
No,
we're both rational.
You're attributing it to divinity, but it's not necessary to do that.
Yeah.
Well, if you read Milton's Paradise Lost, it was the highest angel, rationality, and it was the angel that caused the fall.
Yeah, but to me, that's fiction.
That's his book.
The progress Lord.
That's his book. He can say whatever he wants in there.
During the Enlightenment period, rationality has usurped divinity. Rationality as saying that we know everything. Yeah. That is there to know already.
No, we don't. No. See, that's the mistake. We don't know everything.
I have a question. Why should divinity be above rationality on your tiered system that you've presented to us? Like, why should divinity be the top and rationality fall beneath it? You broke up a little bit. Say again.
Rationality is a tool.
Yes.
God created rationality.
No.
So,
citation
needed. We can only know logic insofar as it's given to us because it's something that we something that we extract from the world, like we're mining. We mine the rationality. We find the true source. We find the true rationality by science. And
right.
and before, in the old days, before we had tools to really understand what was true or not, we had a lot of irrational functions. But what mattered to us was the truth. That's what we argued about. And
yes, truth matters.
Value. It was the highest superordinate value. Yeah.
Okay.
And Jesus, and he taught the logos. The Greek tradition proceeded from the Persian, proceeded from all these years of the creative civilizations, trying to understand what humans were, where they had a more unconscious connection to the world, to the earth, to all these things. It was the first book. It was the only thing people read.
How do you know that?
It was trying to understand what happened before we. Well, the Bible was the first book.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
It was before there was a printing press. Before there was a printing press.
Who told you that the Bible? Who told you that the Bible was the oldest book? Tell me their name.
I'm not making an argument through authority. Okay, I'm sure you have a lot of historians, written on your tabs there to try to discredit what I'm trying to say.
Brother, I have Call of Duty on the other panel. Don't worry, I'm freestyling this. I'm asking you who wrote, because the Bible is not even like BC. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bible is not a BC creation. Like the Chinese have been writing books for 10,000 years, right? So you saying that the Bible is the oldest book is crazy.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of Western civilization. I don't know really much about Eastern civilization.
Why are you just going to skip a whole half of the planet?
They've organized their psyche their way. They organized their psyche their own way.
Hell, the Sumerians were nailing shit into stones long before the Bible was even a thought.
I guess that doesn't count, huh?
So the Sumerians were hammering their words into stone tablets long before the Bible was even a thought.
That's the first person I said, dude. I said the cradle of civilization. The cradle of civilization, starting in Persia, India, Iraq, Babylon. That's all history of civilizations where the Jews were writing things down. They started by word of mouth.
No, well, hold on now.
That was
the Jews.
The
Jews. Judaism basically was born out of Zoroastrianism and borrowed some stuff from other little cults nearby.
It was simplistic, but people don't credit. Yeah, people like to believe that tradition was came from one strict place, but it was shared. It was shared between so many cultures. That Middle Eastern cradle of civilization, which is kind of like the middle of the world, the old world as we knew it. It was the center of the whole world, man. That's where all the communication was coming to and from. It connected to
Every
Asia,
civilization that was a hub had that issue.
After the civilizations of Africa sent envoys northward, like you left out all of African history, but we're gonna go on. It's okay,
bro. Did I not say Egypt? I think I said
the
Egypt.
Horn of Africa. Like you're talking about up there in the Middle East. I'm saying in Central and Eastern Africa. That's where people come from.
Yep.
The
human species
they
started in Africa.
From that land bridge.
That was many years later.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that's what was most important to them. You know, they had a religious outlook. That's what the world was. You know, they had intuitions, they had oracles. And dude, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's such a thing called as precognition. There's such a thing as called like EFT.
No, it's not.
And a lot of people don't know about this yet, bro. But I constantly am having dreams of the future. Constantly, I'm having dreams of the future.
That's because you're worried.
It's weird, bro. And they were connected to this shit. I'm what?
Worried. What are you worried about? What troubles your mind, my son? You're stressing about the future in your dreams. You're not predicting the future. You're stressing. What are you worried about?
Precognition is not a thing, FYI.
It's not, dude.
No, dude.
Wait, what? Neuroscience has been looking for precognition for generations, and they have yet to come up with anything that even points in that direction.
They looked.
Nah, dude.
Many times.
No serious academic school wants to take these things seriously.
They did take it seriously, though, because they wanted it to be true, but they just couldn't prove it to be true.
That's right.
They wanted it to be real because they want to use it for the military. Like they tried all this.
Men who stare at goats. Yeah, they wanted it, man.
Yeah,
they wanted
a lot of
it to be a thing,
man. But there's a connection that we have within our unconscious that understands the projection forward of our being. Like, I don't know how it does it.
What?
You know, it might take all the sense data that we have going around us. And
what do you think consciousness is?
Okay, that's just one aspect of like.
What's your definition? Because you're talking about the house of your mind. Neil asked a good question. What do you consider consciousness? What is consciousness like boiled down to for you? Like, what does that process mean?
Well, consciousness is the only place that we can understand the thing in itself as itself, because everything else is.
So if my mouse recognizes that it's plugged into the computer, it recognizes itself in the port. Try again. Like, what do you like? Consciousness being your thoughts, emotions, memories, experience, all that stuff. Like that's what you're talking about, right? Like your brain's memory of your life experiences. That's what you're meaning, right? Consciousness.
Okay, well, I'll say it this way: consciousness is your awareness, and there's the ego consciousness. Which
awareness of what? Awareness of what? Awareness of what?
Because awareness in general, just awareness.
Well,
it's almost
the base definition for consciousness,
feeling, right? It's that the control center feeling.
Hold on, Dionysus. Hold on 1 second. The base definition for consciousness is basically a state of being aware of your surroundings and oneself.
Right.
Enables you to interact with your surroundings in a productive manner, we'll say, right?
That's all we got so far, man. As scientists, that's all we got.
Well, yeah, because that's really all there is to it.
Psychedelics, but that might take you down an even further road.
I mean, what? So you're saying that there is more to consciousness than the definition you just heard.
Well,
there's more to it.
The soul, but I think the soul is more than. I would say consciousness is more than just the thinking aspect of our being, because it feels like consciousness is in our head, right? I think it's something like the head. The eyes are just where you see out, and that's why it takes prominence over all the other senses, because it's the most immediate sense.
You look with your eyes, you see with your brain.
Something that's,
some
more
of the characteristics of consciousness do include the five senses. Yes. I said some of the characteristics of consciousness do include the five senses.
The body and the mind.
It also includes reasoning ability, imagination, emotion, and memory.
And
it's all part of your consciousness. Or consciousness.
Yeah. Anything that comes into your perception is consciousness. Consciousness is what's receiving things, and maybe it's connected to your personality, your memory. Consciousness is tricky, man. That's what we're still trying to figure out. There's too much of the world that's unknown. But one question I really want to ask you guys, because we could talk about this shit all day. Do you guys believe in the idea of transpersonal realities?
I don't know what that means.
Describe what you mean.
I can explain what I mean by.
You mean, do I have the ability to experience somebody else's reality? No,
not alternate realities. It's simply
No. I'm saying, do I have the ability to experience somebody else's reality? This delay thing sucks. So, are you trying to say?
What I mean by that.
Okay. So, what does transpersonal reality mean then?
Do you think yourself? I think I might have an example. Do you think yourself is totally under your own control, or do you think that you're coming to terms with maybe like a self that was given to you, like your personality? Do you think that you completely mold it, or do you think that there's a reality that you don't know where it comes from? Maybe it's like, psychology calls it the unconscious. Do you think you're perfectly moldable? Do you think you're tabula rasa? You have no previous traits that influence who you are?
No, I don't believe that.
No. I don't know that anyone says that they don't have. I don't think anybody's walking around as an adult saying that they're tabula rasa. Like, what?
We as okay. There are influences in our lives that help determine who we are in the future. They help determine as we grow. We got parental influence, you got friend influence, you got school, you got all kinds of things that add to who you become as you grow. Mm-hmm. But who you are ultimately is just who you end up being based on that experiences, right?
It's the equal sign at the bottom of the super long equation. Yeah. All of those things happen to you. You hit equal, and there goes you out the other end of the equation.
Yeah. Because there's been studies early psychology, maybe like the 60s. I forgot what the study was called, but there was two twins. They had the same exact DNA. They lived.
No, they didn't.
They don't.
Whatever. Raised different families, raised completely differently, but it came out exactly the same.
I don't buy that at all.
So my point is that
it's one of those anecdotes I was talking about. People,
you are like the truth, the core of your being, like the truth of who you are. Like you have to come to terms with that. Like you could only move. You can only do as much as nature has allowed you to do, and nature to me is God. Like that's a Spinozian aspect.
Oh, I know.
But the more you connect to yourself, and the more you feel yourself rooted,
rooted to what?
And I think that comes from the universe. I think that idea of yourself that's transpersonal.
No. Holy cow. You sound all sciencey wooey now.
Yeah, no, it is wooey.
The one connection that the human race has to the universe is that we are all made up of stuff that burst out of stars in the early universe. That's the one connection we do have. You have stardust in your body right now from a multitude of different stars that exploded billions of years ago.
It's beautiful. And there's many ways that you can perceive that, and there's many ways you can come to
there's only one way to perceive that.
So hold on. Dionysus, you just let him say that you're made of star stuff, and you said that's beautiful. Don't you understand by admitting that you are made of star stuff, you have just completely debunked your Bible?
Well, I'm a Quaternion Catholic, and that means we're extremely liberal. Like the church has always been on the Reformation. And did you say something?
I said, yeah, that's good. That's good. Being a progressive type of church is a good thing. It's better.
Yeah, but it's not Protestant because I don't think I think we need to keep the tradition. It's just because that's what happened. That's what went wrong with Protestants, man. Is that they gone every which way to and fro, and they think that they can interpret the Bible themselves. Not everyone's a prophet, Not everyone kind of really understand these things, and the fact that people think they can is what's gone wrong with everybody. Because now there's hundreds of different interpretations that make no sense, and people don't even know why.
There's thousands.
People don't know why.
Of interpretations. Which, by the way, I'm going to let you know this right now, Dionysus. That whole thing about thousands and thousands of different interpretations of the Bible is yet another reason why I don't see why it's valid. Because nobody can agree on it. That's why I'm an atheist.
Yeah,
until you give me a proper definition, whatever. I'm a human. What do you want? You want to give me an actual definition of what God is, which nobody seems to be able to do or keep it straight with each other.
I can tell you
I'm
right
an atheist,
now.
Right?
I can tell you right now.
You'll be the first in history. Go for it.
Yes, I can. All right.
What is God?
So, it's an anthropomorphic system that's been used to explain the human experience in time immemorial, that's been projected from the inner world
Not
to the
time
outer
immemorial,
world.
for one.
And now it's finally coming back to us. It's finally coming back to the internal place where it's always been. And now
sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me.
I think you just blasphemed, bro.
First of all, it's not the whole concept of God didn't exist until humans existed. We created the gods, dude. It's that fucking simple.
I'm just like
no, because we were too unconscious for too long. People weren't reflective enough to know what we were doing. We acted out. We acted things out before we actually sat down and wrote them. We acted them out.
I mean, I can make the same argument. I could make the same argument about soap. I think soap has done way more for the human species. Soap has saved more lives, has cured more people. Soap has done way more for people. Yeah, and it's funny because the Bible has no mention of soap because they didn't think soap was good. Like they didn't even wash their hands. Like I think washing your hands is a real thing that actually saves people.
It's actually
don't disrespect Charlemagne, bro. Don't disrespect Charlemagne because if it wasn't for Charlemagne right now,
Charlemagne the God,
and brought Europe together and created a history of brotherly love and union, none of us would be here right now. We would be in Islam. We would all be. Our wives were wearing burqas. And
do you think all Muslim women wear burqas?
Christ was the most unnatural thing. To say that a God is the highest thing should be sacrificed, the greatest.
Do all Muslim women wear burqas?
Strangest thing anyone could ever say, and that created the Western civilization. And if you say that our civilization is built off a lie, and everybody wants to be here for some fucking reason, it's because of democracy that Christ made possible.
Dude,
how could you have democracy without
democracy was around long before Christ.
Hold on, dude. How about you're completely forgetting the entire reason why this Western democracy stands, which is the transatlantic slave trade. Like, how do you just skip that part? So hold on, Neil. So like you're coming at this from this entirely moral thing about Western society, but how do you skip over the powerhouse of Western society? How do you skip that over though?
Are you a Democrat, bro? Because you guys lost already.
Can you answer the question? Okay. Can you answer? He's fine. Neil, he's fine. He's fine. Can you answer the question? How do you explain the rise of Western society without chattel slavery?
Who told your brothers? If Christ was on Africa, earlier, those people would have never been sold. Because when they went to India, when they went to the America,
he didn't come, right? So I should just be like, he's cool then. This is your belief system. I just want to know why you don't have obvious answers to obvious questions.
I need to make a big fucking point.
Yes,
here.
Neil.
By the way,
wait, but
First Nation. Okay. The people in North America that were here long before we came already had it.
They're not Catholics.
The native people, keep up.
First Nations, the native, the indigenous people, The people that settled the
No,
lands
dude,
here
in America,
tens
I'm not
of
talking
thousands
about
of years
in
ago.
North America.
Listen to me.
We're all talking about the all-embracing love of Catholic brotherly
Oh
love.
my God. Okay, I'm going to put you on mute if you don't let me finish my fucking thought here.
I'm sorry.
They had a system.
I will.
They had a system here in North America that was just like democracy long before democracy was even a thing over in the Middle East. They had tribes heads get together for generations to decide things for the people. That's a democracy.
Bro, they took that from Greece, bro.
They never went to
long
Greece.
before Greece.
Christianity and Platonism is extending Christianity.
So
this is long before Greece.
Let me try to connect the dot, Neil, because there's a Canada-America gap. So when he says First Nations people, he's talking about Native Americans. That's what they say in Canada. They don't say Native Americans because they're in Canada. So they say First Nations. So that's what he was talking about. The First Nations people. So the people with the feathers and the buffalo hunting and the teepees, those people. That's who he's talking about. And they had democracies before Westerners even got here. That's what he's trying to get you to see.
Before Greece.
Yeah.
There's evidence of it.
Okay, I didn't know that. You're saying that, but they didn't have a very good democracy because they would have been more united because they were fighting each other all over every plane. They were
everybody fights, dude. Everybody fights. Everybody fights.
There have been wars and fights since there have been humans.
Everybody fights. Catholics have never gone to war. You guys had crusades. Like, what are you talking about?
The Inquisition.
Yeah.
What a show, the Inquisition.
Yeah, other people, because they were fighting us, dude. They were bullying us, bro. They
the Inquisition?
I reconquered that shit, bro.
The Inquisition?
Oh, the Inquisition, yeah, fucked up. I believe in, listen, like...
Whoa, Catholic man. Let me hear your take on the Inquisition. Explain it, justify it, go.
Huh?
Justify the Inquisition, sir.
All right, what did you ask? Well, there's a lot of strange things that people could believe, and Gnosticism was one of them. And they were fighting Gnosticism since the beginning of the Christian aeon. It's dangerous, man. When people start to, it's the same thing as Protestantism. If the church never split, we would have probably been a lot better off. But the fact that people wanted to declare God for whatever they wanted to declare God as was considered to them one of the greatest evils. And I can understand.
So you're going to cut them down with swords
to persecute those people. Listen, bro. The light of the world don't play. God doesn't play. Everyone thinks God.
So it's okay. So it's okay.
God is a fucking rascal son of a bitch.
It's okay.
He doesn't fucking play, bro.
Just say it was okay. Just say the words. The Spanish Inquisition was okay. Just say that for me.
Well, we would have never got the Enlightenment, and the Enlightenment fucked up the world. The Enlightenment took us away from paradise. It brought a lot of nice.
No, it improved the world. We got scientific advancements. We got languages, and we got printing presses, and we got steam engines, and we got all kinds of shit that ultimately improved the world, made it better. Medicine.
If we would have improved our internal human systems first, if we would have had a more spiritualized reality before we did,
don't need this shit.
demonic exploration and warfare using guns and gunpowder, like
they had to get better weapons to stop the Inquisitors
and more of our own human perspective. Huh?
They had to get better weapons to stop the Inquisitors from cutting them up.
Move away of the world.
Yeah. War's been with humans since there've been humans.
What?
War has been with humans since there have been humans.
Yeah, dude, that's the most natural thing in the world. Don't ever blame war on God, bro, because that's a human.
They said they're doing it for God, and you just said God don't play.
So
they said God don't play.
When they say God told us to do this, then we have to point fingers at their so-called belief. Listen,
man, sacrifice is the groundwork of all reality, buddy. You believe it or not. sacrifices the groundwork of all reality.
That sounds like a Monday morning quarterback way of saying, I get to keep this because other people killed other people. Like, that is like the most immoral, unchristian thing I've ever heard someone say. If you think might makes right, then I guess we can just like hang up on you at any point and not have to listen to you, right?
Because we have the power.
I don't think might makes right.
You do.
We also have other callers waiting.
Yeah, man. I mean, God will give the power to people who have their sword sheaths. That's who's going to inherit the earth, and that's who it is, bro. It's the all.
Jesus is coming with a sword, right?
Now, man. God's promise is this country. Are you guys from America? Are you guys American?
Well, we're both American. He's in the U.S. I'm Canadian, which is technically American.
North Americans.
Yep.
Oh, you were born in America.
Yeah, I was born here.
Because I would say God is a strictly American endeavor because it's the spirit of freedom. It's the spirit of truth. And
you do know that the U.S. was founded to get away from that shit, right?
Knowledge of the fact that what happened in Europe with the French intellectuals, with the Enlightenment, they knew it was evil. They knew that it was going to go into totalitarian mess, and they knew that they were going to fall from grace. All the Puritans left, all the great people left, and that's why America is greater than every other country. That's why France and Germany are.
No, it's not even close, dude. Not even close.
I have a history question for you. What church were the Puritans fleeing?
The Puritans, the ones that came over here, where were they fleeing?
I don't know.
It seems like you should know that.
Church of England.
It was the Anglican Church.
They were fleeing the church. Okay. Yep.
Right, because in England there is a state-run church, right? The Church of England, the Anglican Church. So they said that's not okay. We want religious freedom to be as psychopathic and on the fringes of reality as possible. So much so that we're going to go across the flat earth into this new land and try it on our own. And that seed of extra radicalized crazy folk is the Pilgrims. Like, that's the people you're talking about. They had nothing to do with Catholicism or any, like, I'm not sure you know exactly who you're advocating for, because I'm not sure you know what you are.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm from Latin America, bro. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm a Catholic. I believe in marrying the saints. Protestants will have my ass for that shit, and I fought people for that shit. Oh,
you're from the quote unquote garbage island. Sorry, he said that about y'all.
And 100,000 people came to worship that shit. That's how strong their faith is. But let me tell you about what I think about the Protestants. Their idea with only faith and only the Bible is what went wrong, man. Because a true religion is acted out, man. You can't just believe in your head and then
that's an oxymoron.
It's something you do through experience, and that's where the Spanish. That's why the Spanish were greater. But that's why the Americans have a greater intellectual philosophical system, because that's how they're orientated. They're orientated towards thinking. They're orientated towards philosophical, perspectives. And the Spanish were orientated towards living and going and doing and exploring. And they were the first people to find the Americas, and they were savages. They were fucking crazy. But that's how I see the difference.
What?
Catholics acted out.
You literally just said you had a crusade, and they're the savages? Are you kidding me? So just because you're murdering people in mass for your God, it's totally justified. It's totally justified.
Oh, you're women. What are you going to do, bro?
Did you hear what I asked you?
Okay, you know what?
Did you hear what I asked you?
Oh, God, that's common sense.
Did you hear what I asked you at all, or was there like a delay or something?
I'm sorry that you were turned this way by your belief system. Yeah. We have other callers that we would like to get to. Yeah. So
I can hear you. I'm sorry.
So we have other callers that we would like to get to, and it seems like we're just running around.
Okay, let me just end with this one thing.
Sure, go ahead.
The self is a superordinate identifying thing. Whether called upon or not, God will be there. If you don't have a God, you're worshiping something else. So just be careful what you place as your superordinate value, because psychologically speaking, that is your God. Okay? Yeah. You don't have to believe in Jesus. But know that if you're atheist, you may fall into traps. I'm not saying you're stupid.
Not really worried about it.
This guy's praising the Inquisition, and I'm the moral D-bag over here. Like, okay. Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot for your call,
Thanks,
Dionysus. Next time, bring one.
That was fun. That was fun. All good. All
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
I'm going to take on this next call, who's Patrick from North Carolina. He's a deist.
Okay.
And has a belief that science and religion can coexist. Now, I have some thoughts on that myself. So let's see. I remember this quote in the chat, actually, where it says, a Catholic priest that came up with the Big Bang, after all, which is true. Hi, Patrick. Can you hear us?
Hi, Patrick.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you are correct. You also have to remember that it was very, very dangerous to say you were a non-believer back when those things happened. You have to remember that too. So a lot of people who ultimately ended up,
I would say it's also more rare to be a priest back then as well.
To be yeah, because not a lot of people knew how to read and write either back in those days either. So the people that did know how to read and write were usually the ones that ended up being more scholastic, you might say, because they could read the books and stuff like that and come up with ideas and then write them down. And you know, it might have been a Catholic priest. Why didn't the Catholic priest? I have an issue. He called it the Big Bang, yet there's no sound in space, and a bang is not what it was. It was a rapid expansion, almost instantaneous, actually. Which is why today we say there's no center to the universe, because it just keeps expanding from all different points. So it's kind of a weird thing, but it's weird to wrap your mind around that. But it's the truth.
Yeah. If we go back far enough, we'll find some inconsistencies in science. I believe that as well.
Oh, sure, but science is self-correcting. So anytime there are inconsistencies, usually they end up working themselves out, and then it's put out for review by others, and it ends up becoming either part of a theory or not. So that's just how it works.
I agree. It's similar to like church councils.
Oh, how so?
Well, okay, so like you said, Big Bang doesn't have sound in space. Well, if you have a heresy, and then in Christianity, usually we would have a church council come together and go, "Hey, look, God does put out so and so and so and so, and there is no sound in space." It's sort of like the equivalent of science, I would say. I could pick a better example, but
I think this is a little bit semantic, though, don't you think? Because Big Bang is just a placeholder title for the rapid expansion in the early universe. So any kind of like inferences off of the bigging and the banging is kind of it's a non sequitur there, because it's not actually, it's just the name of the thing. It's not what the thing was.
Real quick here, just want to say a quick thank you to Native Atheist for a $10 super chat there. Thank you so much. Also, Mr. Solace gave us a super sticker earlier that I forgot to mention. So
thank you. But go ahead, sorry.
It is kind of a non sequitur, but I was just kind of throwing that out there. That once upon a time, and I still think even so today, religion and science can coexist. Maybe not in some circles of, let's say, Christianity or Hinduism or Muslim, but I do believe that religion and science can coexist. Much like the Indian example you explained, they had democracy, so-called democracy in the First Nation, but they were also religious people.
Sure. Well,
okay.
I would still probably consider that religious to some degree, for sure, because they did have sort of deity type entities around and stuff like that. They usually took forms of animals, right? So animism might be one way you could look at it. Yeah, for sure. And from what they've gathered, I watched this whole special on this thing, and they had this. They found a central location where multiple tribes got together to discuss policies for land divisions, for hunting areas, that kind of stuff, and that would literally be considered a democracy as we would know it today, if it were to happen today. I mean, it was very democratic the way they went about it.
You could argue it was more of an alliance and actually a democracy. And even if it was a democracy, you could hunt it on maybe a republic, but at the same time, those chiefs wouldn't have power over another tribe's people. they'll
Correct.
still go under a different chief. It's more like an alliance. Yeah.
I think but it's still a democratic methodology is what they were implementing.
I've told this a couple times, but I'm from St. Louis, and at the base of the arch, there's like a really cool like little museum down there, and it talks all about how like there's the Cahokia Mound Builders in Southern Illinois. They had like straight up cities, dog. Like they would bring in like Portuguese people for meetings and all this stuff. Like that's where the last caller was kind of funny. It's like I don't think people know that people literally lived here and there was a genocide. You know what I mean? Like it's not like these people were just like didn't know how to take care of themselves. They had a full ass society before Westerners showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think you necessarily have to have a even the correct religion in order to have a genocide. I think people are tribal on their own.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. People are tribal, and we have been since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got some other group of people come up there and they don't know you and you don't know them. You're going to be suspicious, obviously, because they're doing things that might be a little different than you, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know if I should trust them. And oh shit, well, we killed them. Oh well, I guess we'll never know now.
Guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
I guess if I was to push a little bit of pushback, I could offer some information on the Crusades and the Inquisition that could defend them. I know a lot of people aren't very excited about that, but
well, I don't think it's a position that could be defended. I think what happened was absolutely brutal and atrocious, and I but it's part of our past, right? It's like I just hope as a species we evolve past the need for that kind of stuff. That's all.
I don't think we would necessarily. I think we're still in the same slot. We just are given bigger spheres.
To some degree. I think we're going down quite a bit now.
But I mean, like you could say that. I mean, as far as the modern age, what's that movie about the genocide in Rwanda? Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man,
the Tutsi massacre.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so. As far as the Crusades go, if you could justify a Catholic position, Muslims sacked Rome around mid 800s. We didn't call it crusade until 150 years after that. So we got a black eye, and then we were like, okay, enough is enough. They've taken a bunch of territory. They're moving Christians out. Like they're encroaching on the Byzantine Empire. We have to react.
Yeah, they were.
What happened to turning the other cheek?
There's a point, Mikey. All right.
Otherwise, you have genocide, right?
Religion of peace. Both of you.
Yeah, they all claim that.
Yeah, they're all peaceful, but they all war. Okay. I misunderstood.
I don't think I claim that.
No,
the religion claims that, not you.
And you'd be wise for doing that too, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm religious as well, but I don't think that either. There's a difference between turning your cheek and having your head cut off. Like at some point you're gonna have to defend yourself, and I think the Bible is full of places where people have defended themselves for the right reason and sometimes the wrong reason.
Every human being has the right to defend themselves.
It almost feels like the God should have stepped in and done something, but he didn't, so the people defended themselves. It's weird, you know? It's almost like the supernatural person didn't show up for the supernatural part.
Okay. Don't even talk to me about that shit.
He just didn't intercede that day. I guess he was busy.
Which day?
It's a rhetorical statement.
I'm interested if you're going to make a claim.
Well, sure. I mean, what about the Holocaust that the Jews had to deal with, right? Like you could see inscriptions on the wall made by the prisoners there. Where is God? Right? We are His chosen people. Why is He here helping us out? Right? Well, then, I know the answer to that, but
Christian nations. So Christian nations that were majority Christian, defeated the powers that be, and now we still have Jews.
Yes. Well, it's a combined effort.
Canada
stepped up. cancer wards for kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's necessary. Well, although granted, we are making some inroads on cancer treatments and cures actually for quite a few of them. So that's pretty cool. Modern science, gotta love it. Yeah, I mean, science and religion, in a sense, do coexist regardless, because there are. I think it's at the last tally, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm a bit of a statistician. I think currently the amount of scientists that consider themselves to be religious to any degree, whether strongly or weakly, is about 3.5% of the scientists. So there is still religious people involved in sciences, and there has been for a millennia. All right, because as I said earlier, usually the people that were in the clergy of some kind or learning to be were the only ones that could read and write back then. So they were the ones that had all the ability to go and read these books, what we had discovered so far.
They had all the money too, by the way.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So it makes sense.
These things are bad.
Like the Jesuits had a lot to do with a lot of our modern scientific anythings, because they were the people safeguarding the heretical scientists trying to find. It's like, no, he's Jesuit. He's Jesuit. Shh, say you're Jesuit. See, he's with us. Don't burn him. He's real smart. We need him.
Well, that was the whole point of the Jesuit society, was to help other cultures be okay with the Catholic Roman. That was their whole thing.
Sure, yeah. That was one of their ultimate goals, that's for sure, to try and find unity and peace and stuff like that between different
Seems
cultures.
wasteful to burn all the smart people.
Yeah, well, look what it led us to. Anyone that could propose an idea that went against their beliefs, they usually
small margins. Yeah, so when you say things like they burned all the smart people, that's kind of being a Sith, right? Absolutes. But it is a very small percentage of people who actually died due to Catholicism or Christianity. The majority of Christianity at the time.
Well, people that thought outside the box ended up, like what about what was it, Galileo, that they stuck in a room and locked him in there when he said that the Earth wasn't the center?
Yeah, he died Catholic, and he wasn't executed. He was just exiled, but he stayed religious throughout his whole life.
Well, there's people that actually argue that he may not have been as religious as everyone once thought.
Freedom is important.
But yeah, for sure. If atheists were alive in the heyday of witchcraft oppressions and threatened the same and treated the same, what do you guys think?
If you were to say like all Christianity is perfect, yeah, I would be right on your side, right in the picket lines. It's not, but I mean, at the same time, I think you would be on my side if somebody said all atheists are perfect.
Oh, we are far from perfect, man. The only thing we share in common is our either lack of or disbelief in deities. That's all we share in common. Everything else is a crapshoot.
Yeah,
you got atheists that believe in astrology for fuck's sake. I'll never wrap my head around that, but hey.
Yeah,
you will continue to interpret vagueness as meaningful.
There's a lot of common ground we can get to. I don't think
oh, sure.
As a Christian I need to die on the hill of no, you can't say it. But at the same time, I think atheists probably should back up a little bit when they go like, oh, if you're different, you're killed by Christians, or if you're smart, you're killed by Christians, and so forth and so on. These are
not
it's like Jedi's. You're a Sith when you say that. You're dealing with an absolute.
You're Sith. Well, we're going through. Our reasoning comes from actual history. Like anyone that went against any form of religion at any time was usually either locked up or put to death because they were considered blasphemers or apostates or foul, non-believing heathens, stuff like that. And that includes atheists, because there have been atheists since there have been humans as well. Then there have been other people that believe in other things as well. And they were usually not treated very well by the reigning belief system. And it was, you were either killed or you were enslaved or you were ostracized or banished or something along those lines because you were considered a threat to them.
So I would disagree with that as well. So,
you could disagree.
Once again, we're putting descriptions on people, and we're saying, okay, so if you're different, you get ostracized, you get killed by the Christian church. But majority were not.
Because they converted
So
under the threat of death.
I'm sorry, say that again.
They converted under threat of death.
Yeah, many did. Many did actually.
So you're saying that when the Inquisitor came and knocking and said, "Hey, are you a Catholic?" and they're like, yes, sir." Like those were all 100%. Like I'm sorry, but the whitewashing of like Catholic history and religious history, I'm not putting up with it. It was dangerous and it was bad and it was harmful and it helped kill millions and millions of people. Like you got to wear that if you're going to be honest in the conversations. You got to wear that.
Yes, millions. Throughout history.
I don't have to wear that. Okay. So during the Spanish Inquisition, 284 people were killed. During the Spanish Inquisition, 284 people were killed. That's pretty far from millions and millions.
How about chattel slavery?
Chattel slavery was long before Jesus Christ.
You sure?
They encouraged it.
Yeah.
The Bible says you can take your neighbors as slaves.
Atheists, Christians, by Jews, you name the culture, they had chattel slavery, whether they believed in God or not.
Right, but the Christian church and Christians said, not for us. We will never do that because that is wrong. That's what they said day one. Yeah. Day one, all of them said that. It didn't happen. Like, so I get that what you're trying to do is to split hairs off of the larger. It doesn't matter, bro, because the iceberg is the same size. Generally, I can't find a spot where religion has done more good than harm. It usually does 98% harm, and we try to keep the 2% good that comes out of it.
Hold on, because let's take the chattel slavery. So all across the board, whether you're Christian or not, you don't even have to be Christian. There was chattel slavery. So what did Christianity do to make it 98% worse?
Christians were largely the owners, operators, and purveyors of the transatlantic slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
The owner? No, the largest owner of slaves was an African gentleman who was not Christian.
He was an American. He was an American citizen.
What's that?
He was an American citizen.
No, he was African.
Oh, okay. But he was a Catholic. He was a Christian.
He said he wasn't.
No, he was. He was. I don't even know what he was, but he was not. He was not Catholic nor Christian.
So one person having the most slaves at one time excuses the whole system. I mean, if that's the cherry picking that you have to go to, cool, dude, cool.
That's not. No, I'm not cherry picking at all. I'm saying it's across the board. It's not cherry picking whatsoever. It's across the board. But to say that Christians, by the way, most of what you're describing is Protestants, but to say that Christians in general made it 98% worse, the numbers aren't there.
Why is my black ass in America? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and there's white people in there's white people in the Middle East that were there from the what are they called? Barbarian pirates, whatever. Yeah, like people were moved out throughout the century. You know, like there's a bunch of Irish people here now, because of indentured servitude.
Yeah.
Just FYI, your number for people killed during the Inquisition is way off.
How much was it?
They don't actually know a complete number, but they estimate it to be between 2,000 to 5,000 people, which still isn't a massive number like we were mentioning earlier. However, these are people that they found kind of records on that were tried and then either killed or whatever the hell it was.
It says here in the chat, it says 30,000 to 300,000, with some historians believing that millions died. I mean, we're literally here painting a barn that's already on the floor. Like, what are we talking about right now?
No. I've seen that number before. That's investigations, and it's not people executed.
Yeah, the number of people killed during the Inquisition is estimated to range from 30 to 300,000. Wow, with some historians believing the death toll may even be in the millions. The Spanish Inquisition was the most deadly during its first decades, with an estimated 2,000 people dying by the hands of the Inquisition up to the year 1530.
That's news to me, because I also read that the 300,000 was investigations that they could not provide if they were executed or not. But by name of executions, we have 284.
And I mean, that's not the only way to die in an Inquisition, right? Because they also raged like campaigns and like razed cities. So like they're like, just because you didn't sit there with your just because you weren't in the guillotine or you didn't get put on the stake doesn't mean you didn't die from the Inquisition, you know.
Okay, so maybe you can educate me. Which city was razed during the Spanish Inquisition?
I'll get some names for you. Hold on. I mean, this is again.
Okay.
What is the larger point we're trying to get to? Because we're over here just like splitting hairs on the details. Like, what's the grand scheme that we're supposed to be like? You know, what are we tackling here? Are we just arguing numbers?
Science and religion can coexist. That was the topic of the call.
Yeah, let's get back to that, because if we want to just Wikipedia each other to death, I mean, we can, but it's not super interesting for everybody else.
No, I agree. So maybe we can get off of it. But my point was, and maybe we can maybe I can walk it back a little bit. From my understanding, the Spanish Inquisition was never as bad as people say. It was bad, sure. But at the same time, so was the Catholics being killed as well. In non-Catholic countries. Well, and even in Catholic countries in Paris. So I guess what I'm saying is, if I can walk back my statement, at the same time, there aren't millions and millions of people killed in the Spanish Inquisition, nor is Christianity the fault for all chattel slavery.
No, that I would agree with. But they sure had a huge impact. That's undeniable.
Okay, so 2.7% of all cases that were tried in the Spanish Inquisition was by execution.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the numbers I'm getting. I'm pretty sure I'm getting it from the same source you are, because it says 150,000 people were prosecuted. Yeah.
Don't know enough about it, but I do know that there were a lot of people.
Right.
However, I'm going to give you my final thought on this whole thing. All right. If they can get you to believe absurdities, then they can easily get you to commit atrocities.
Is that Christianity or people in general?
It's people in general. If you can get people to believe absurdities, then you can get them to commit atrocities.
I agree.
And I personally consider religious belief to be absurd. Me personally, I don't think there are gods.
You're welcome to that.
I think that gods are all creations of the human mind and imagination, and I think it shows in our mythologies throughout history, all the different deities, and there have literally been almost millions of them that have been brought up, right? Hinduism alone, there's hundreds of thousands, although there are I think it's 6 or 8 main deities that take other forms, but still, it's all thought up by people, and that's my whole position on religion in general, which is also why I don't believe.
Yeah, and I would say that a lot of them can be made up as well. But at the same time, I do not think throwing all deist ideas out the window just simply because you heard some atheist on YouTube say that the Spanish Inquisition killed 3 million people. You see what I'm saying?
No, yeah, you're right. That's not a reason, but sure,
you get people
I get
to
it.
believe absurdities. You allow a doorway of discrimination.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Anything to make you not feel icky about the past. Whatever, dude. I mean, it's like right fighting over the number is so buck wild when you came here to talk about how religion and science can coexist. But you want to like you're standing for like
science,
the Inquisition, like it was
science and numbers go together.
like okay. But again, we're not on your topic. We're just plain sophistry
into that.
Sophistry towards the murdering of people because they have a different belief system. But tell me more about how science and creationists can come together here. What are your thoughts on the Big Bang?
Well, I thought we agreed on the whole science thing, that they can coexist. I'm pretty sure not you, the other men said that.
No, see, I don't think that science and religion can peacefully coexist. I do not think so. I think that there are people that are still involved because science has a funny way of demonstrating how religion is wrong. So I think there's a butting heads thing going on there. Well, we know that creationism is false now because we have genetic records and we know that evolution is the truth. We know that it happened. We know that abiogenesis was the starting point. And it all turned into evolution, although it's its own separate thing, abiogenesis. And we are still evolving. Evolution doesn't have a top. You don't get it; just keeps going on and on and on because you continue to adapt to your surroundings, and that's what evolution is, right? Like look at coyotes. That's a perfect example of modern day evolution. Two species separate, although they're both canids. Two species intermingled. You see, if you're not the same species, you can't intermingle. So two species intermingled and created a brand new species of canid called coyotes when coyotes and wolves got together and did it, right? So we do know that. And the mosquitoes in the underground, in the tube in England, is another example of an evolutionary step. The mosquitoes down there can no longer reproduce with their original cousins from above the tube, from above the subway.
If you have
coyotes, that's speciation.
If you have coyotes in your neighborhood, do not leave your unfixed female dog outside. You will have strange looking puppies coming your way. These coyotes are dirty little dogs. German shepherds, labs, all kinds of dogs ended up pregnant. It's like, what the hell? Jezebel ass dog.
The largest denomination of Christianity is Catholics, and Catholics do not prescribe to the creationist theory. That was invented in like the 1930s by Protestants in America.
Sure, that's fine, and I think that's great. And creationism isn't a theory either. FYI, a theory in science is the highest echelon something can be. It contains laws and hypotheses. It is the best explanation, demonstrable explanation for what we have observed in nature. That's what a theory is.
So creationist opinion.
Yes, that's their idea that they came up with because they didn't really have a way to know elseways, so they came up with that whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't prescribe to creationist ideas. You know what I mean? So once again, where can we not connect? If the largest denomination doesn't have a set rule on creationism, where can we not connect?
Well, we can connect there. We don't think creationism is a thing either. So there's already a connection right there.
Good. So once again, how can we not coexist?
So you're saying that
majority of Christians do not hold what you say or the creationist idea.
So you're saying that Catholics have no supernatural beliefs? I mean, creation is one of them, but they have none? Like the Eucharist is not a thing.
No.
It's not real.
I never said they didn't have any supernatural ideas. I said creationism in general.
Right. I think as people...
So are you saying we can't coexist because of supernatural things?
If people believe in supernatural things, I can't trust them to make real reality decisions.
Yeah, reality-based decisions, yes.
I don't know what they will actually do because will they go to the supernatural or will they rely on the reality that we share? I don't know.
So, I mean, the same argument could be said for the early thinkers we were talking about. where they thought Galileo was being supernatural. That is not something that was in their reality. The Earth was flat and has been and always will.
Boy. Something in the chat just pissed me off big time.
I see what you're saying.
No, it's not it's not you, Patrick.
Have supernatural tendencies. At the same time, people also have conspiratorial tendencies. Whatever.
Oh, sure.
They could be atheists and conspiracies.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
So by the same logic, I couldn't figure out if they're going to live in reality based upon if they read the Inquirer or not. You know what I mean?
Well, I think science and religion are separate. I think they, as Neil deGrasse Tyson would put it, leave the religion at home when you come to the lab to do science. Because, as he says, they aren't compatible in that aspect. Okay? But you can be a religious person and a scientist and get along very well and fashionably awesome with your fellow scientists. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they all go out for drinks and have laughs and stuff like that. Like you and I could go and have a beer and talk about all kinds of stuff and just laugh it up and have a good time. Right? I don't think there needs to be this animosity towards each other. I just think that when we're dealing with the scientific method, we should leave the religion outside of it and just deal with the science. That's what I mean by they're incompatible in that fashion.
Well, maybe we can come on some common ground, because that's kind of what I mean by coexist.
Yeah, but as people,
you can be religious and a scientist at the same time. That the one would not disprove the other. Well, but for now, it doesn't anyway.
Well, there's lots of things in science that have disproven things in the Bible, so I don't know what else to tell you about that.
I mean, yeah, there are some things that you can disprove in the Bible if not given the correct interpretation. Absolutely, you can say Jonah got swallowed by a giant fish. No, that's not possible. But you can go on the interpretation that it was depression, that the fish was depression or hell. You know,
if you want to take like a philosophical term and use that as some sort of an idea.
Oh, that's a legit interpretation.
Okay, well,
allegedly.
That's fine. Anyway, Richard, is it Richard?
It's Patrick.
No, Patrick. Sorry.
No, it's Patrick.
Patrick. All right. Sorry about that, Patrick. One of my oldest friends' name is Patrick. So, thanks for giving us a call. We're gonna, I think, move on to another caller. So, thanks for calling in with us.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Hey, thank you.
Have yourself a wonderful evening, sir. All right, then. Yeah. Now, before we get into the next call, I just want to remind people that Skeptic Haven is looking for volunteers to help behind the scenes. If you'd like to be a part of our awesome team, send us an email at info@skeptichaven.com. Also, Monday nights, we have the Black Freethinkers. Thursdays nights is the Sunny Spots. Saturdays are the Global Atheists and Women Atheists Unload, with lots of great hosts. And Sundays, well, you're looking at it now, it's the Let's Talk, and you might see some familiar faces pop in and out of this show as well as hosts. Right. Also, just a quick address here to the chat. Where the hell was it? Now it's gone now.
Who was it?
I can't find it. Something about, I think it's this Vincent person here.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, I see him.
Why do peacocks exist? I don't know. Watch the special on peacocks. Well, here it is.
It's called
it was Celtic Spirits Coven who said microevolution isn't proof of macroevolution. I'm going to tell you something right now, Celtic Spirits, as a quasi-scientist myself, as a chemist, there is no macroevolution. Okay, it's all microevolution because things happen in stages. Little bits and pieces help a species adapt and survive. Some don't make it. Some species evolve in such a way where they end up being extinct because it's like rolling the dice.
Hey, remember COVID? Remember the different variants?
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about? What's going on right now?
And Vincent said something else that was kind of funny. Hang on here. Science can't discover values, though, only facts. Yeah, sure, we actually can. Mathematical values. What does that even mean? They use it all the time. So that's kind of silly. Explain peacock's evolution. It's like, hello, man. Teleological argument, by the way, is garbage. Just FYI.
It's like debating things like, the prefix on the word means this, so that means it means like, okay. Someone could have called it Frank instead, and you'd just be calling it Frank. Like, that's how language works. Like, don't get too caught up into it. It's not that important.
Yes, mathematical values is a thing, Vincent. You can laugh all you want. It doesn't matter if you laugh. There's still a thing. Yeah, what do you mean by values? Are you talking like ethics, morals, that kind of thing? Because you don't need any religion for that bullshit either. Not that it's bullshit to be moral and ethical, but, you know. Anyway, enough with Vincent. Seem to be.
Oh, okay. See you later.
Okay, well, see you later.
Have a good night.
Too low IQ. I bet
don't say nothing else because we're children. So don't say nothing else. Just leave. Don't try to get the last word. Just go.
All right. So we're gonna take one. It's Javier again.
Oh yeah, Javier's back.
Right. Well, Javier, you can probably hear us, so we'll have a quick chat with you, but we can't go for too long because, well, we both have lives. One of us has children, little one, and it ain't me. At least none that I know of, anyways.
I got the little.
Anyways, all right, Javier, welcome back.
Like when you do this, like, is it like 2 hours? Do you have a specific time frame or anything?
There's no real specific time frame. It usually goes from an hour and a half to 2 hours on average. That seems to be the usual length of the show.
Got it. Wow. Yeah. So I just thought I would explain some of my beliefs to how the way I believe in Christianity to you guys. Like, because I know last time we talked, obviously we tried a short political discussion, not that. But last time we talked, I was kind of more venting about Christianity and complaining about it. And, honestly, there were valid complaints. I'm not even denying there were valid complaints. But I do want to talk about, the way I view the faith and how, my faith is very, very strong. It's just like, at the end of the day, I noticed that, so I put the topic as biblical history. It's like, so when people ask me this question is like, do you believe the Bible? I'll say, yes, I do believe the Bible. When I say that I believe the Bible, I believe the Bible in a historical context. Like, I was just explaining this to some people today at a Thanksgiving, not a Thanksgiving event, it was a birthday party. But I believe it in the historical context. Like, I know you guys will disagree, you have the right to disagree, but I believe that every single one of the characters in the Bible were real people, that they preached their real messages through their real associated times, if you will. Now, the whole thing about like for example, like all the prophets of the Old Testament, they were there, they preached what they preached. They were literally historical figures. And these are literally historical, like the Bible is a history book. That's the way I view the Bible. That's the way if you were to ask me in my heart of hearts, how do you view the Bible? I view the Bible as a literal history book, and it's probably the most amazing history book. Let me backtrack because I'm actually going to be a little bit too.
I am at 100% disagreement with you right now. Just FYI.
I almost about to say, Neil, pull out the red flag.
Yeah. So it's like when it comes to like the history and like the histories and all the chapters of the Bible, like the prophets that wrote those, like they preached what they preached, they did what God called them to do. But it's like each chapter and each prophet of the Bible was for their associated time frame. Now, when it came to Christianity, at the end of the day, Christianity that we know today that's spread all over the world, that has billions and billions and billions of people. I'm sorry, I'm a very fast speaker. But
it's okay.
Hey, you're stepping on your feet. We're not even in there yet.
Hang on. Javier, can I just get you to hang? Can I just get you to hang on for one quick second? Then I'll let you go on again there. and this isn't something I'm saying to you. I'm going to address somebody in the chat. This Dougie person. These streams are really anti-Semitic because all the characters in the Bibles were Jews. Not all of them, but that's okay. And I was raised as a Jew. I'm not anti-Semitic. Okay? I still think the Bible's bullshit. And thinking the Bible's bullshit doesn't make me anti-Semitic.
Hey, Neil, or Dougie, what's Semitic mean?
Yeah. What's Semitic mean?
Learn what the word means before you call someone anti-Semitic. Learn what a Semite is and who they are. And then come back and put it in the thing. Go Google that and come back, Dougie. Sorry, go ahead, Javier.
Sorry about that, Javier. And it was good to talk to you too, Patrick. I see you in the chat.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were asking me to hang up or not. I was a little confused.
No, hang on, not hang up.
Anyway, like Christianity today, like I'm not going to get into all the Old Testament stuff. Like I said, I believe in it as literal history, and I believe those prophets as literal people that actually existed, that actually did what God called them to do, that actually preached the message God called them to do for their specific time frame. But without getting into the details of like all the Old Testament prophets and everything, because like we don't have time for that. Obviously, that's an hours and hours and hours and hours long discussion.
So we should just give it to you. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Christianity, getting to the very roots of Christianity, where it all began in reality is the book of Acts. The Christianity we know today, the book of Acts tells us the story of the converts, the first converts of the church, and the first people that came to faith in Jesus Christ. The first people that got baptized, that they went and got baptized and gave their lives to Christ. And it tells that story of like how the church grew and grew and grew, and how they tried to persecute the church, but the more they persecuted it, the more the church just grew and grew and grew, because they're telling people about the gospel. And what is the gospel? Gospel means good news. Good news is Jesus Christ died for your sins. Jesus Christ died for the sins of the world. And I believe that. I mean, obviously you don't believe that, but I believe wholeheartedly. And the reality,
you don't think that that's disgusting?
In the book of Acts, because like the book of Acts is Christianity.
Oh, he's breaking up. You're breaking up on us, Javier.
Can you like train? Can you switch to a different room or something like that? If you're like in a basement, or can you get like on the Wi-Fi? You're cracking up real bad for us on this side.
Wait, what the fuck is what the? Did you see the comment by Bobby Goldsboro, by the way, Mikey, under your last comment?
Oh.
What a fucking douche canoe.
See? And this is why I stand on business. I ain't worried about these people.
And I'm not a biker, you fucking clown. Well, I guess that's a lie. I used to be, but not really a biker. I did ride motorcycles.
Yep. Bye-bye. Have fun watching.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you now. Yeah, go, carry on, sir.
Were you able to catch anything that I said, or was I cutting in and out?
You were cutting in and out like pretty harshly, but you seem to be fine now.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I guess I gotta. So I
Hey, die quieter, will you?
just to sum it all up, like Christianity began in the book of Acts. It began with the apostles. Like it's like the apostles who were there, who witnessed the crucifixion, who walked with Jesus, who walked with Jesus Christ, who witnessed the crucifixion, who were there for the resurrection, and the people that followed Christ during the time he was on this earth. That was the birth of Christianity. That was the birth of true Christianity. Because what is Christianity? It is the gospel. What is the gospel? The gospel is simple. It is this simple. It is Jesus Christ died for the sins of the world. And this is the gospel that started being preached by the apostles in the book of Acts. And I look at this as a historical context, because like the book of Acts is when the people first started hearing the gospel, and people started repenting for like how they treated Christ and how they crucified him, and then they started being baptized and coming to faith in him, and then it grew and grew and grew. The church grew and grew and grew, and persecution, which is listed in the book of Acts, it talks about how the apostles were imprisoned, were persecuted, and then how God had to send angels to like release the apostles, out of prison and everything. And it's like, despite how much persecution they were facing, at the end of the day, the church kept growing, and that is the story of the book of Acts, and that is the story of the birth of Christianity. And then comes Paul.
Dude, I'm so tired of hearing that that people suffered, so it must be true. That's bullshit.
Like from a humanistic, more secular perspective, it's like there's disagreements I have with the Apostle Paul's teaching. Like when I say I believe the Bible is historic from a historical context, that doesn't quite mean I have to agree with everything that Paul says, or I had to agree with everything so and so and so says. The only one I truly agree with is what Jesus Christ said. But at the end of the day, the story of Paul is basically, this guy was a Roman persecutor, and like you already know the story, but he was a Roman persecutor who was on his way to persecute, and then he got converted, obviously, because like he had a experience with Christ, which so many people in reality are having today, like that they've been having throughout history. And and then like, Paul, why do you persecute me? And then he became like one of the biggest evangelizers of the time. But like I try to explain, when I explain the Bible to people, I explain it through a very what's the word? A perspective that human beings can understand. Like, there's people out there that are like waving signs in the air, screaming with bullhorns, and I hate that. I hate that with a passion. I already explained that. I told you I hate that. But explaining the Bible through a perspective that human beings can understand, that like we can like discuss this like in a humanly manner, whether you share my beliefs or not. At the end of the day, it's just in explaining it, basically saying, what is the story of Paul? He went to preach the gospel to all these different places. Corinthians, it's like
that's a claim.
The Romans, the Corinthians, Galatians, Colossians, whatever.
Are you hearing me, Javier? That is a claim that requires demonstration, because there are no extra biblical references to any of this.
Extra biblical references to any of it?
That's correct.
It can't be independently verified.
That's correct. It's the only book that talks about it is the one you like. There is nothing extra biblical that talks about anything that is in that book. Well, there may be like a couple of minor things, but other than that, I'm not too sure on that. But as far as I know,
I'm a kind of person. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
you need to have more than one source, right? That's how it works. Like if you're going to say, well, I believe the Bible because I think the Bible's true, like it's almost a circular reasoning. So there needs to be an extra biblical source. And some people might bring up the name just got out of my head.
But are we denying that the history of the Bible is actually accurate and those places are actually there? And that, like
the places might be there, but guess what?
Yeah, that's
Spider-Man lived in New York. New York's there, but Spider-Man's not real.
Yeah, you said two things at the same time there. You said, yeah, those places are real, so clearly all the history is correct. It's like, I can make up a story about going to Jupiter. Jupiter's still real, but I never went.
Right. That's right. That's why I say the Spider-Man argument too, because yes, we all know New York is real, but Spider-Man's not real, even though all the events in the Spider-Man comic books happened in New York, so they must be true.
Well, Superman met Neil deGrasse Tyson, so Superman's real.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I like granted, you can't prove that these specific people existed, even though I do believe they existed. You can't prove it, like Paul, the Apostle Paul, for example. Well, I mean, aren't there? Let's be very serious here. Like, okay, no, maybe you can't actually. Aren't there like historical documentations that the Apostle Paul was a real person, and especially that Jesus Christ was a real person?
Good luck proving that.
I'm on the fence. I think it's possible. I do not think the biblical version of Jesus is real. I think that there may have been somebody they based the character on.
documents that we have. So it's the document that we have on him, and we have. It's like you look at the Bible. It's like
what document are you talking about? The Bible is not. But I don't. You need more than just the Bible. We need some external sources that confirm what is said in the Bible, and we don't really have that. So what do you do now?
Well, the Bible is just as a collection of scriptures. It's a collection of scriptures.
Yes, that were agreed upon at the Council of Nicaea on which ones were going to be canon and which ones weren't. So there were people in charge of what was going to be real.
I know. I'm aware of that, and that's why I say that, it's like I do believe in scriptures outside of the Bible. Like, who are we to say that the Book of Mormon is false? Who are we to say that the scriptures of the Book of Mormon is false? Since
because a dude from Missouri made it.
That is all.
How do you know my scripture that I have here called the Urantia book? How do you know that's not real?
So how did you determine that? How did you determine that Christianity was the right faith for you, and that the Bible was your? Like, how did you get to the point?
I'll be born into it.
Like, how did you get to the point where it is obvious?
Where
we're like, we need evidence, but you're like, it's so obvious. Why don't you guys believe this?
I wasn't born into it, actually. I was born a very I don't want to say non-devout. I was born into like a non-devout Catholic family. I don't want to say non-devout, but
you were
it's like
still born into
that was pretty much about it.
Catholic belief system. You enforced it later yourself.
Yeah, but I never really embraced it. That's the thing. I never really embraced it. As a matter of fact, my whole story goes back to like I actually embraced. How do I put? It's like I'm trying to. Without telling my whole life story, I don't really want to tell my whole life story. But I did come to faith on my own. Yeah, I did come to faith on my own. And now the thing is, it's just like when I'm trying to like, and then it's like I understand. It's like you guys want evidence and all that stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, it's like you look at the Bible. It's like when you think of the Bible as an atheist, like it's like you think, okay, Bible, that's just a religious book. Bible, and I mean, yeah, and it is very much
scriptures, and there are many different types out there. Yep.
But it's like the way I think of Bible. When I think of the Bible, I think of it as historical writings. I think of it as documentation. I think of it as like documentation from people who wrote what happened, who's giving their testimony what they're on. Yes, it's been translated over and over and over and over again, like that other caller said. And he's right. It has been
approximately 14,000 times.
Yeah. Okay, fair. I agree. It has been translated countless times. Yeah,
there are no copies of the original anywhere.
At the very end of those translations goes back to original scriptures, which exist, original documentation, which exists, which was.
There are no original documents to the Bible. None. Zero. There are no original copies. The closest you got is the Greek translation. And it's sitting in a museum.
Concordance Bible?
No,
what about what?
That's not an original copy. Concordance Bible.
Oh.
I've heard that one thrown around a lot, but it's not. There are no copies of the originals. None whatsoever.
You mean God didn't preserve it?
No, it was all oral tradition up until they learned to write stuff down.
Oh.
Right? So it's like broken telephone game.
Until like the last, what is the word? Last millennium when the Council of Nicaea put it together or something? I'm all just like, yeah, facts. Yeah, the Bible was put together by the Council of Nicaea, but the scriptures
the one we know now, yes,
came from. Yeah, the scriptures came from the people that wrote them at the time. That like, they were ultimately there is an original translation to anything. Like translate it a million times. There's an original. There's ultimately going to be an original, and the original is what is the purest form of what exists.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if there is a new Council of Nicaea and they change the Bible, will you believe that?
I would have no reason to. I mean, they would not. I mean, it would just be another way of, it would just be another them translating. Like they're doing it again. Like what are they doing with, like, they're changing the Bible all the time with the new international version, Trump Bible.
No. I'm saying, what if
no.
they have a no? I'm saying, what if they have a new council and they change the books? They change the order of some of the books. They add some books. They take some books out.
Somebody needs to boot
What?
Dougie too.
Sorry. You're cutting out. Go ahead.
So I'm saying, like, if they added books, if they removed books, they reordered some of the books, would you believe that Bible if it came from the Vatican? Like, they're like, yo, 2025, new Bible. Here it is.
Trump Bible.
I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't because, like, it doesn't matter that it comes from the Vatican. Like the hell with the Vatican. The Vatican has a lot of money. All right, they had a lot of money then.
Didn't take long.
Yeah, they had a lot of money when they put it all together. And it's like at the end of the day, I mean, basically, at the end of the day, the Bible, every book in the Bible comes down to an original documentation of something, which I believe is the documentation of what actually happened, those events back then.
You have to remember, all the books in the Bible were written down years after the event. It was all oral tradition. Everything was oral. And who knows what could fuck that shit up over time. You're literally... You're just taking the word of people that spoke about this for generations until they finally decided to write it all down. It was years after all this stuff happened. So, and there are no copies of the original written stuff. Right? So it's all oral tradition until they decided to write stuff down. So.
Going back to my original point, like when you read, it's like the story of the Book of Acts, the story of the Apostle Paul. You know, whether we think he's radical, and I do think he was radical on some things, and I didn't quite agree with him on everything. But the story of the Book of Acts and the Apostles, the story of the Apostle Paul, you know, going out and preaching the gospel to the Galatians and the Corinthians and the Colossians and the Romans. This is the story of the spread of Christianity. Like, how did it start? It began when the apostles were with Jesus. It began with the original followers who were here when Christ was on the earth. And then after Christ was crucified, died, and was buried, after Christ rose again, they went to spread the good news. And then they baptized people, and that answers the Book of Acts. People were converting, people were repenting from their past unbelief of Christ, from the rejection of Christ. And then you know, there talks about like more and more converts were added to the church, more and more converts were added to the church. And then they were in the face of persecution. More people were converting to Christ, more people were converting to Christ. And then the same thing happened when the Apostle Paul was there, when he converted, and then he went and started preaching the gospel to all these people and all these.
Yeah, because he had a hallucination.
And then they say this is the start. The point that I'm making is that this was the start of Christianity. This was the start of Christianity, and it all began when one man died on the cross.
Allegedly.
And it's just like, and it's ultimately, it spread all over the world, and that's how it started.
Yep,
that's the history. Whether you want to
slash its way across the planet,
it's how it started.
Well, right? I'm aware of how it started, okay, and I'm aware that versions of Christianity, you lump them all together, it's still the number one religion, with Islam hot on its fucking tail. But Hinduism is also a giant religion too. Millions of people believe that too. Okay, and it's even older than Christianity and Judaism. So maybe they're right, and all the new stuff is wrong.
Now, why do you think that Christianity? Why do you think that Christianity is the number one religion in the world?
Statistically, it is. It's still believed by the most people. Slightly. More
fair.
than Islam.
Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that it is why do you think that it's the number one religion in the world?
Because it's demonstrated to be. I don't believe the religion.
He's saying why is it the most popular one?
Because it's the one that most people are familiar with, the one that most people are born into.
I would blame the English language, but
Yeah, that too. And also,
colonialism.
Islam will pass Christianity.
I don't even think the English language is the biggest language in the world. Is it?
It is the most spoken. It's the most spoken language on the planet. It is the language of business. When you become the language of business, it means you're pretty serious.
Yep.
Interesting.
To answer that other clown's questions, what are Semitic people? Semitic people are basically from Middle Eastern people, like Jews and Muslims, Arabs, stuff like that. They are the Aramaic, Akkadians. They're all Semitic peoples. They're from the Middle Eastern area. So that's what a Semitic is. See, I wasn't born in the Middle East, but I was basically my history goes to England and Wales and Italy and France, which may have some Semitic traceable lineage at some point. I'm not a Semite. At least I don't consider myself to be one. So, yeah, Canaanites, but they don't exist anymore, AR, remember? There was, yes, they do. They found traces of Canaanite DNA in Lebanese people. That's right. So God didn't erase the Canaanites like it says in the Bible. Oh, well.
Can't win them all.
Can't win them all. Javier, okay, you got to remember, these are all belief systems, okay? They don't have to, you don't have to continue believing them if you find that there are too many chinks in the armor, as they say. Like many people that have been on my show have seen, and ultimately gave it up because they just couldn't stay. And this includes preachers and all kinds of people, clergy, stuff.
And
like
I know, and I think that where it's a kind of an obligation to speak up against a lot of the preaching that's corrupting Christianity and a lot of the rhetoric that's corrupting it, because Christianity is a pure religion. It was started by a man who died on the cross for the sins of the world. That is the purest thing. Who died on the cross and who rose again on the third day. But it was
blood cult, man. Like, seriously?
People, and then it was spread in the nation. Spread in the nation. But it's like it goes fast forward to today, and this is where something I was getting at.
Hold on, Javier. Hold the fuck on here.
It's been so corrupted. It's been so corrupted with like hate and bigotry and politics and all of that, and that has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. That's the same thing I was getting at last time. It has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. It has nothing to do with that Savior who died on the cross for my sins and for the sins of the whole. Man?
Hold on, Javier. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on mute here for a second, okay? The fact that you think that somebody being sacrificed to forgive all the people of the world's sins, in my head, is morally horrifying. It's a blood sacrifice, and I think that is absolutely horrifying. You can't tell me that these types of beliefs aren't cult related. You're on mute,
hear me?
by the way. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard a beep. It was weird. I mean, I guess that's the way you look at it, and ironically,
that's what it is.
Islam would agree with you. Islam would agree with you, because the reason they don't want to believe it is because they said the same thing you do. They say this Muslims say the same thing you guys do, in that regard, but. They think it's morally reprehensible for a son of God to have to be sacrificed for the sins of the world, and it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like it was a will. It's like it's hard to like defend it in the light of like someone. It's like
in the light of modern morality is absolutely hard to defend.
Well, I mean, it's like at the end of the day, he took the sacrifice, he took the punishment that we all deserve.
Well, that's still has to be demonstrated.
It's like at the end of the day, putting aside whether you agree with it or not.
Why do we deserve it?
Like when it comes to like keeping. I know. Whether you agree with it or not. Wait, what?
Why do we deserve it?
Hello? I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, why do we deserve it? Why did we need to have this happen? Okay, because first of all, if you go, there was no point in Jesus doing any of it if you are on the bus with the idea that the Garden of Eden never happened, so there was no original sin.
Well, let me say this.
There was no Garden of Eden. We know that never happened.
I have issues when it comes to like when Christianity says things like we all deserve eternal hell, like eternal burning for all eternity.
Yes.
And like I
eternal punishment for finite crimes is ridiculous.
I have issues with that. But at the end of the day, why do we deserve the wrath of God? Why do we deserve to be punished? Because I mean, if I were to say something like, okay, like I said, I try to explain this from a humanistic perspective, not so much a logical humanistic perspective.
I doubt that.
So much a fundamentalist religious perspective. Like at the end of the day, you're asking the question, why do we deserve it? Why do we deserve it? Instead of me saying something like, oh, we're all sinners, which is like, yeah, we are all sinners. That's true.
Sin
but
is made up. It's a made up thing that they use as a
at the end of the day,
control you with.
Are we not all corrupt?
No.
I think humanity not all corrupt. Like morally speaking, humanistic, secular perspective, is humanity not all corrupt? I know I am. I know I've done things.
Lots of corrupt people.
I know that every day
but I don't think everyone is corrupt.
We do things that we should not do. We do things we should not do at the end of the day. We're not perfect.
According to who?
The only perfect one was the one that took
bullshit.
punishment
How
for our
do you
sin.
even know that?
And who? I can't do this anymore.
Like you're just asserting things.
People.
You're just asserting things. You're like, aren't you guys? Don't you just feel so broken and corrupt inside? Nah, dog, that's you. You all right? I don't feel like I'm a super corrupt person. I feel pretty moral. I take care of my friends and my family, and I do right by people. What do you talk about this internal corruption that do I like go around stealing from old ladies? Like, no, what are you talking about? Like, nobody does that.
Let me explain it in a better way. Okay, even if you guys don't think you are corrupt, even if you think you are perfect and holy and righteous and whatever, even if you think you are that, even if you think you are that, okay, look at humanity. Look at all the murders taking place. Look at all the lies that people are telling every day, all the hearts that people are breaking, all the lust that's happening at these bars and everything, at these strip clubs. Look at humanity. Look at all the violence in the world.
Javier.
Look at how corrupt, and we have to agree on something, that humanity is corrupt. And I'm not saying that without evidence. I'm saying that with all the evidence you can see out there. Mass shootings on a regular basis.
Doesn't represent all of humanity.
You'll disagree with me on this, and that's okay. Abortions happening every single day. People stripping and getting naked at strip clubs and having all the sex that they want and drinking all they want.
Sounds jealous.
Bravo! I fucking applaud them.
Stealing.
Because there's nothing wrong with it.
So look, humanity is corrupt, and we can't deny that. Humanity is corrupt.
Okay. You know what?
I have a question.
You can believe you're righteous and perfect and holy, but the reality is humanity in general is not, and it's far from.
Javier, what's the number one religion in prison?
Huh?
What is the number one represented religion in prison?
That's irrelevant. That's off. I don't know what it is, but it's
irrelevant. Answer the question.
According to what you're saying, it's not irrelevant.
The Christians are in jail, brother. Y'all are the ones doing the dirt. What you mad at us for? The jail's not full of atheists. It's full of Christians and Muslims. What are you mad at us for? We're the only ones that figured it out.
Did I say I was mad at you guys?
But you're acting like humans are so corrupt. It looks like Christians are the ones doing the dirt.
I'm thinking about something. I didn't say that. I didn't say
that. If Christians are so morally superior to all other religious peoples and non-religious peoples, how do you hold on, Javier? Hold on, because you're just talking in circles, and we got to get some sort of entertainment value for this call.
Yeah, and I got to get going.
So here's the thing. I need you to explain the disparity between the overrepresented Christians who have the moral high ground, as you say. These are Bible-believing, Jesus-loving Christians, but they outnumber every other demographic in the prison system. How do you explain that?
I honestly think a lot of them convert in prison.
Some do, yeah.
And that's true. A lot of them do convert. A lot of them
answer the fucking question, though.
I don't have an answer to that question. I'll be straight up with you.
Well, why don't you work on an answer for that instead of acting like the rest of the world is corrupt? It is Christian. Christians need to police them. Christians need to police themselves.
I'm not calling you guys corrupt. If you want to,
you literally said that.
I'm not criticizing atheists. I'm not criticizing atheists. I'm not calling you guys corrupt. I'm asking you to yourself. But at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'm talking about humanity in general, and I'm trying to get into
Javier.
Humanity.
Mute him. Javier, no, I'm not letting you weasel out of this one. You need to explain why more Christians fill the jails than atheists. Don't talk to me about everything else, because you talked about the corruption of the human brain and the human spirit and everything else. And everybody's so broken and so wrong, and they're stripping and they're drinking and they're smoking weed and you're naming all of these things. Yet your people are the ones in jail, caught, prosecuted, and now serving time. You need to justify that to me, or else I can't trust what you say. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're part of the group that is the largest represented group in the prison at this point. So please explain to me how there are so many Christians in jail if Christianity leads to moral superiority. And I will wait.
I don't have an answer to that. I don't even think it's relevant. That's my opinion. I don't think it's relevant. I'm just speaking in general.
Okay. Javier,
in general,
good talk.
I'm not even talking about just America. I'm talking about all over the world.
No, well, they're still all over the world. Anyways, I'm going to say goodnight, because we're going to bring the show to a close.
We see all the violence all over the world and everything.
We'll have to call back another time and continue this conversation maybe with somebody else. So, going to have to say goodnight to you, sir.
Yeah,
but
later,
feel
dude.
free to call back. We got to bring the show to a close. I got to get to bed. I work at 4 a.m. So I'll talk to you later, another time. Thanks for your call.
It's story time.
All right, that's it. That's it.
I just can't take the I'm so high and mighty and we're so broken and we need this guy to just come in and do nothing for us, but we should just give these people our, like, I just can't. Like, you gotta live in reality, brother. And if your denomination is filling the prisons, then maybe you need to really have like a closer look at what you believe in and whether it's right for you.
Not only that, to say that you have seen or had an experience doesn't count as evidence. Personal experiences are not evidence. It's anecdotal. If you want to bring evidence because you've had an experience, then demonstrate that you had that experience. Show us how that worked for you. Okay? Because if you can't do that, I don't believe you. Oh, you had an experience? Right. So did I. I've had an experience lots of times with the flying spaghetti monster, but that doesn't make them fucking real. Anyway.
A lot of us do, being honest. A lot of us need therapists to work out some trauma from believing that people were swallowed by whales and that you're going to see grandma in 100 years. Like, yeah, we all need a little bit of therapy because it was a bad lie we were all sold. So
Javier did not win anything.
Okay. No, he won, dude, for sure. Good job, Javier. You beat us.
Scientific method starts with eyewitness, and then it goes through testing. All right, and repeated testing. Then it gets peer reviewed to make sure that they weren't wrong about what they thought they saw. That's the scientific method. Not just seeing something goes, oh, well, it's real. That's not how it fucking works. I know. I'm a scientist. So, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, the first step of hypothesize. That's done with your eyeballs. Okay, thanks, dude.
Yep.
You missed the first step. It's okay.
Yep. Then you go to the testing, experimentation, just to see something. You go, oh, it must be real. Well, that's not how it fucking works.
No, that's a scientific method, Neil. We're wrong.
Right. I use the
We don't know.
scientific
We don't know.
method. Actually, I use many different methods every day. Everything that I do has its own method. A method is a type of experiment for something. So methodology is what I use on a daily basis. Anyway, thanks everyone in the chat. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Listen, before we go, a couple of things I want to mention. Once again, if you would like to help out with the channel here, you can get a hold of us. Become one of our I'm dying. One of our awesome team members. Email us at info@skeptichaven.com. Also want to take a moment to thank out our amazing patrons, Paul Cammish, Karen Butcher, Helen, Greene, Logan Fisher, Amanda McLeod, Rion, Deneen Murphy, Dan D, Michael Wiseman, Puck, Sunny Shell, and Phil Calderone. If you'd like to become a patron, there are ways to do so, and you can just check the description below. That's it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show, and we will see you guys, I guess, the next time I'm on, which I think is the 15th, and then I'm back on the 22nd with Godless Engineer. And next, on the 15th, I'll be here with Randolf Richardson, and you can also check out mine and Mikey's show, Deconversion Stories, over on our channel, which is Neil the 604 Atheist. And until then, guys, see you then.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.